Check the back seat.
All right, come here.
Check the back seat.
Gets in your head, right? Good. Because every year, dozens of children are forgotten in the backseat of a car by a parent or caregiver. All never thought it could happen to them. But with changes in routines, distractions, or a sleeping child, it can happen to anyone. Parked cars get hot, fast, and can be deadly. So get it in your head.
Check the back seat.
A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620, The Zone. The Huskers are headed to the locker room, and it's time for Big Red Overreaction. The live post-game show with all the info and opinions you can handle. Plus the most important voice of all, yours. Big Red Overreaction is presented by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. And Jay Stennett Contracting, also sponsored by Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair. And No Name Nutrition. Get on the line now at 402-951-1620 and sound off on Big Red Overreaction. Live on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The K.
Here we go. 2024 Big Red Overreaction train is leaving the station. I'm Connor Happer alongside Nick Hanley, Joey Colbert producing this evening. It is Nebraska 40, UTEP 7. Big Red Overreaction brought to you by Equitable Bank, where we take banking personally, and brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair and No Name Nutrition. Live a better, healthier, and more natural life. Here we are.
Did you see little Cuzzo? Did you see little Cuzzo? Did you see him? Did you see him?
He waited 10 seconds to get that in.
Give us a call, 402-951-1620 on the Jay Stennett Contracting Hotline. It was a good day. It was a good day for Nebraska football today, and now the wait begins for just about a week from right now, where Nebraska will be welcoming in the Traveling Road Show of Coach Prime and crew. I imagine we'll talk about that a lot today. Let's get you through some stats. We got people already waiting on the lines. We'll have Matt Rhule's press conference coming up here in just a couple minutes. Nebraska offensively goes for 507 yards today, 284 through the air, 223 on the ground, a balanced attack. Dylan Raiola, 19 for 27, 238 yards and 2 touchdowns. He sat all of the fourth quarter and some of the third quarter. Heinrich Harburg came in and was the second quarterback, where he went 5 for 5. Jalen Gramstad, Jalen Football, came in and went 1 for 3 with 11 yards. Leading rusher today was Emmett Johnson, 8 carries for 71 yards. Dante Dowdell had a great start, fumbled, did score a touchdown, 8 carries, 55 yards. Ramir Johnson was your leading ball carrier on the ground, 11 for 50. Gabe Irvin scored twice and ran for 24 yards. Nair, Banks, both caught a touchdown from Dylan Raiola. Once again, Connor Happer, Nick Hanley with you on Big Red Overreaction. We're off and running. Here we go. Nick, what do we got?
I think we got to start with 15.
Little Cuzzo.
Little Cuzzo, who, by the way, was interviewed post-game on Fox. But
is football good again?
That's
our question.
Okay, you just mentioned how many quarterbacks played right there. And that was not on the receiving end of a whooping from, say, Ohio State or somebody. That was actually in a game that was controlled, that you could go to your defense and offense, too. You see second-teamers, you see third-teamers before we even get to the fourth quarter. So that was refreshing to see. A lot of the guys on the offensive line that you saw get reps. You got to see Gibson Pyle in there play a good chunk.
Gibson Pyle gets a mention first 10 minutes. Let's go.
Yep. You get Sam Sledge playing some center.
Let's go.
In there as well. So some young guys getting some important game reps in a game where it was very low stress for the time that they came in. They weren't thrust into action because of injuries or anything like that. So I think all that was great to see, but you got to start with 15. Dylan Raiola, 19 of 28, 238, 2 tutties, no interceptions, simple throws. The first drive right out of the gate. I'll say this. This was the most noticeable thing, because we saw this in the spring game. We saw this in the open practice. We've seen this in a lot of different settings where it's been not the same type. Again, I'll use the word low stress, because you can't get tackled in practice or in the scrimmage. And so you obviously are going to maybe have a slower clock or feel a little bit more at ease, his presence, his calmness, is noticeable.
He's pretty advanced.
It is exactly. I mean, there was a throw. Someone had tweeted this out to me after the first drive, and I think it was spot on. The completion where he's on the roll to Janier and Bonner, and he just kind of throws underneath,
the fling.
Yeah, the little fling there.
Yeah.
What, maybe 8 yards or whatever it was, but it was an open receiver. He did it on the run.
He put the ball in harm's way probably twice.
Yeah.
Trying to do a little bit too much, which I think I expected more of that today.
Mm-hmm.
And, he didn't throw an interception, even though he probably could have thrown one or two at
There were simple throws that were made too, which was so refreshing to see, where guys that were open over the middle, when you have all kinds of different, you had post patterns, you had rub routes. You had all these different things and long yardage situations where the defense is going to give you a cushion. They're going to be playing maybe a cover 2, and you got a guy that's just sitting in the middle wide open, and he's hitting that receiver.
And we'll go through some of these things later, but I thought they trusted him in tricky situations too. There were very few of those in this game, but third downs early in the game when it's still in the balance, I think they trusted him to make the right play, made a great check, and got a nice run from Emmett Johnson. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to like, obviously.
That's a
about
good call.
Little Cuzzo today. Matt Rhule's press conference coming up momentarily. This is the moment you've all been waiting for. The voice of the fans, yours. Connor is the first caller on Big Red Overreaction circa 2024. Hi, Connor. Thanks for waiting with us. How are you?
I'm not too bad. How are you, Connor?
Very good, Connor.
Well, I just wanted to start off by saying, Dylan Raiola, I love you. And that's just about it. I think that pretty much sums up the entire game, and I think that's what everybody's thinking here in the state of Nebraska.
Connor, you waited on hold for more than 45 minutes to say, Dylan Raiola, I love you. You are what makes Nebraska great, my friend. Thank you.
I did this all last year, too. I was saying, Dylan's coming here. Everybody just relax. Dylan's going to come.
He actually did.
Nobody believes me, and we're back. And then he just what? We just had our first game for 200 passing yards in how many? Forever.
Yeah, they didn't do it at all last year.
Yeah. So we're back. That's all I gotta say. We got Dylan. We're back. I don't really like the Pat Mahomes comparison, but I mean, like, as long as he doesn't have like a brother who makes like TikToks on the sideline.
I don't think Dayton's doing that. No. We haven't heard Dayton's doing that at all.
Thanks, Connor.
Dylan, again, amazing. So, there you go.
Very good.
First call. I forgot that was Connor last year that was always saying, hey, Dylan Raiola is coming. You guys aren't believing me. And today was his affirmation, and then he actually performed very, very well. And so that was a big day for Connor. To the point of what he threw for 238 total, the 193 yards in the first half was 6 shy of the highest passing total last year, period, at 199.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear.
6 shy of that.
I think it's pretty clear that, I mean, we talked about it at our roundtable, several other places. I mean, if this season goes how we think it's going to go, and today was a definite, check in that box, he's going to have a top 5 or 10 season in Nebraska quarterback history right now as a freshman. Yeah, and that's not. I don't even think that's outlandish to say.
And on Friday, I said my bold prediction was Dylan goes 275 or more. I'm confident he does that if he plays earlier into the fourth.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, he essentially had 2.5 quarters to play college football today, and that's what he did.
Offensively, Nebraska averaged a little over 18 points a game last year. They score 40 today against UTEP. It is partly the good part about having a nice soft landing here in game 1. Nebraska had not scored 40 points since when? That'd be that fateful night of September 10th, 2022, when Nebraska lost to Georgia Southern and Scott Frost was fired hours later.
Yeah, so the last time they scored, that was in an L.
Yeah,
how about that?
There's great precedent with this. One more phone call before we get to Matt Rhule's press conference. We go to Vince in Napa, wine country. Vince, I know you've been waiting all offseason for this one, my man. How we doing?
Well, all in all, we're hanging in there. But I'll tell you one thing that really stood out today. I mean, this was about as complete of an effort as we could have hoped for in a season opener like this against an opponent like this. Because keep in mind, games like against opponents like this haven't always gone in this fashion. I mean, the last time I can really think of it right off the top of my head was maybe the Bethune-Cookman game in 2018. But you talk about Dylan. I mean, the arm talent obviously is tremendous. And what really stood out a few times is that just the feathery touch that he puts on the ball, because in the past, we've had quarterbacks that would throw rocket balls over the middle and it would find the waiting hands of a safety or a linebacker. But I don't know what you guys think too, but like when I look at Dylan, to me, he's got the functional mobility of Joe Gans, and he's got the control at the line of scrimmage of Zach Taylor. And with a quarterback like this, it's going to make our run game that much better. Obviously, we're going to face much better opponents, but I think you saw the cause and effect of that. And defensively, it all started last year, really, where I think even last year, I thought for the first time since the Bo Pelini years, we've actually got a physical football team. And I don't know what the stats were, but is it me or did we have more punt returns yard today than we did all of last
They did. People were actually tracking that. They got close.
Yeah, and they moved it upfield, Vince. They moved it upfield for more than 5 yards. It was cool to see.
And I'll tell you, that is like such a novel concept, because even if you get 10 yards on a punt return, that's one less first down that your offense has to make.
Vince,
but you know what though, fellas?
Oh, here we go.
It's time. We don't need to talk about we can't look ahead anymore. UTEP's in our rearview mirror now. It's time to look ahead to Colorado. And you know what? After last year, this is personal. This is personal to Coach Crime. This is personal to your Sanders. When those mighty Colorado Buffaloes come into Lincoln next Friday night, let's make it a nightmare. Let's pillage and fight with bloody knuckles. Kick their ass.
Let's go, Vince. Wow.
I love it.
Dropping the mic already.
So we only got one call in before we started turning it over to Colorado, which I get the feeling we will be doing that today.
For the record, Isaiah Garcia Castaneda, 3 punt returns for 25 yards. I believe the grand total on the season last year for Nebraska was 47.
Okay, so we're more than halfway.
More than halfway home.
That's great.
Indeed. So I think they should probably
all good things against UTEP today. All good things.
So Joey, you just let me know whenever that press conference starts up. We're gonna hold calls because we're just right on the edge here. This Matt Rhule press conference. I don't want to cut anybody off in the middle of it. So hang on if you're on the line. Let's Gary, William, Jim, hang on the line through Matt Rhule if you'd like to. Matt Rhule stepping up to the podium now in Lincoln. Here he is.
You have to love your teammates enough to get all those. The best part of that was seeing all those kids at the end, getting, a guy like Maverick Noonan have a tackle for loss who missed a whole year with a knee injury, or the guys who walk on, the guys.
It's loading. Go back on. Okay, yeah. So we're just having some technical difficulties with Coach Rhule. I
believe this happened last year too.
Well, it's the
first game last year, and it wasn't on our end.
This one's not us. Yeah, this one is just the stream. Yeah. So whenever we get that back loaded back up, but Rhule was obviously talking about all the players that he got in the game. Pro Football Focus is going to have a lot of fun trying to chart everybody that played. I mean, there had to have been upwards of like 60 guys.
Have we gotten a participation chart yet?
I mean, it's all. If you just stat it, the whole thing, I'm looking at the thing right. I mean, there was probably 25 to 30 dudes who played on offense. Yep. I imagine it was more than that. We're probably trending toward 50, 60 guys. Okay, back to Rhule. Here we go.
Some bad, right? So like the best one was he three-way checked. He three-way checked the long run by Emmett, right? Like he checked it and then they kind of moved and he checked it back. And so then he checked it again and got us to that run. So like when you have a freshman that's checking and reloading things, that's an unbelievable job by Sat putting those kinds of things in. Great job by Glenn teaching it. Great job by Dylan learning it. And then also the O-line and all those guys being on the right call. There were some other things, like there was a 3rd and 2 where he heard RPO, the receivers didn't, so there were some of those moments, right? I thought the biggest thing was, we were, I think until that last one, we were like 11 of 16 on 3rd down. I think we probably finished 11 of 17 on 3rd down. A lot of those were runs late in the game, but I think we had some really big 3rd down conversions. And then, I told you guys, I think sometimes people think maybe I say things and I don't really mean them sometimes because, I say a lot of things. But like with 8 seconds left in a timeout to take a shot in the end zone, right? That is saying that we're going to play the way we want them to play someday. And I didn't call a timeout and say, hey, now remember, hey, get it up, get it down. And he took a shot and boom. So I was really happy with that. So I thought for a first game for Dylan, a lot of great things. I think there's a lot of things we have to clean up as a staff, and we will.
Isaiah Nair is a guy who's waited a couple of years to be on a college football field himself. What can you say about Isaiah? I think he ended up with 121 or something like
Is that what he did? I'm so happy for him. Yeah, I thought the big time catch, down the sideline for that long ball. We also had a lot of pass interferences, right, where we extended drives by taking shots down the field. And he worked the middle of the field too. Some big catches on RPOs going up. He's not afraid to go up and extend it across the middle. I thought really we got a contribution from pretty much everyone. Big third down by Bonner, big third down by Naylor, then the shot to Banks at the end. So I'm really happy for Isaiah. He does everything right for us. When we got him, Mitch Cholowinski had known him at Texas. Said he was a great guy. He's been a great addition. And that receiving core, there was no jealousy out there today. It was just an amazing vibe from those guys.
What did you think about that safety that kind of turned the game? 7-7, and that was a huge play in the game.
Yeah, we've worked so hard on not fumbling the ball. And we talked all week about, hey, they're going to tackle us low. And so for us to put that ball on the ground on the 4-yard line, and I went out to the defensive huddle. And I tried to say something. Marquise was like, man, we know what we're doing. We've been here before. Like they were excited to play. And you saw them. I don't even know how that'll happen. I didn't see exactly what happened, but I just saw guys playing really hard and fast on defense. And so that was great because it was such complimentary football because I think they kicked it to us. Jacory had a decent return, and then we went down and scored, right? So that was a 9-point swing, and that's kind of we want to go on runs. We want to score, stop somebody, get the ball back with good field position and score, or kind of like that, and that happened there.
You had 33 carries across those 4 running backs. What did you learn about that group today?
I thought they all made plays. The shame of it with Dante, had that fumble, but he was really running well. Dante's done such a good job. Like at the end of the spring, I would have probably put him at 4th, right? And he's really brought himself where I think he was the second back in the game today. And, it's not really like, hey, this guy's Ramir went first. It's kind of like, hey, Ramir and Emmett do the same thing. So it's kind of, a little different thing. But Dante, I thought he was really playing well, running the ball well, and then had that fumble, right? But happy to see him come back. So Gabe, showed some really good plays. Emmett with the long run. Ramir, I thought he ran hard. And so I was pleased with the whole group. And Maurice got in there and played well too. So.
What about the offensive line? Thought Dylan enjoyed a clean pocket for most of the day, and also how they helped in the running.
Yeah, I don't know what we finished with rushing, but we think with I don't know what is it. We finished with 507 yards, but with 223 yards rushing. I thought they were clean. This is a team that blitzes a lot. We gave up 1 sack where Dylan had to come out and we got beat on a late twist and Dylan signaled something, the receiver didn't get it. That's one of those things going back to we have to be cleaner at when you play, you get into Big Ten play, you can't have missed signals. So we have to improve. But had that ball gotten out, I think we'd have come away from the day with no sacks. And really, again, those 3rd and 12s, even we had that unfortunate OPI moved us back. It was like 2nd and 17 or 3rd and 17. We hit 2 plays in a row. I thought the O-line gave great protection, and our backs do a good job of chipping, which is really good.
How beneficial was it just to be at home today in this type of setting compared to maybe a year ago? You had to open on the road on a Thursday night, sold out, just to kind of build this team the way you want to build it this year.
Well, I think first of all, I'll say this: there's not many places in the country where people stay for the whole game the way that our stands do. It's unbelievable, right? Like usually at the end of the game, you can kind of yell out like, hey, run it, give it to so-and-so, run it. And we were still having to use the headset. If you notice in the game, I started off with a single. We probably didn't notice, but I started off with a single, and I had to go to a double earphone today. It was so loud on the field. It was so loud. It's loud on offense. Like we put Heinrich in, and everyone got real loud. And I'm kind of like, I'm doing the old, hey, be quiet. But but it was great. It was great to have that atmosphere, have that crowd. When you're at home, you have all those kids that can get in the game. Last year was really tough. I've talked a lot about that, but last year's now kind of over. So we got a chance to start at home. We got off to a good start. Coming in, some of the older guys were really happy. They were saying they had never really experienced that kind of a game where the game was over at halftime, really. And it was, they're watching all their young guys get in. They hadn't really, and maybe they have, I don't know, but they said they hadn't had that. We certainly didn't have that last year. This game last year, Louisiana Tech was 28-14 or so. It was good to see them, put it away.
For 2 on 4th down, what's the biggest thing to fix?
Sorry.
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, sorry. 0 for 2 on 4th down. What was the biggest thing to fix going into Colorado?
0 for 2. We were all 0 for 2 on 4th down.
Yeah, that's
what we had a couple. I think that got by penalty. So no, I think we're going to go 4 on 4. The last one was, at the end where we don't want to, we have the 3rd team guys out there, but there's a lot of things that we have to fix before Colorado. There's a lot of things we have to fix before Big Ten play. This is game 1. You make your biggest jump, before from game 1 to game 2. So I just felt like with our team, we just really needed to play. Like we needed to get out there and play, see what it looked like, see what was good, see what was bad. And now we can go back and fix it. Like, I thought IGC did a nice job on the punt returns. I thought Jacory was dynamic on the kick returns. So, you say, oh, I thought we got close to maybe blocking a punt, So there's a lot of things, though, that I can go back now and say, okay, let's fix this. That's why I'll say, I'm sorry to interrupt to say this. That's what I thought was really important at the end. Like, at the end, you don't want to embarrass the opponent, and they're so competitive. But I thought it was really good. We at least got to kick a field goal. You know what I mean? Like, we've talked so much about kicking. To kick a field goal, I think, was really important for us. Sorry, Sam.
You had spent basically 9 months trying to retool the offense, and Dylan's a big part of that. But the picture that you saw today, was that maybe the first step that you were hoping to see going into the game, the way that they played and the yards that they gained and the points they scored?
Yeah, we're a lot. I mean, we're better than we were, right? And so, even the crew that was here, they said, hey, what do you want to see on offense? I said, well, last time you called one of our games, you called us a disgrace on offense. So, and they were kind of like, oh, we didn't mean that. I said, no, we were. Like, I don't take that offense. Like, that's where we were. The thing I didn't do was overreact. I didn't fire Sat and fire everybody. I said, okay, we'll get a little bit better. And now you're out there, you see guys making plays. You see the O-line block and tight end. I mean, our tight end play today was excellent. They had some catches, but they had a lot of key blocks. So, our check game, the ability to, check runs was so much better. So yeah, I just think we're better than we were, and we're going to continue to get better. And the guys like Jacory add a dynamic element. Now one of those plays got called back, but that would have been a dynamic play. The big receivers made some plays, so we're just better. But we have to get a lot better moving forward.
I don't want to jinx anything, but what does +1 on the turnover margin mean today? After what?
Yeah, let me ask you this: did they count the safety as a turnover?
No.
Well, they should. I might do it in our building. Yeah, that seems like a turnover, does it not? I mean, I was sitting there because we were -1, and then we did that, and I was like, okay, we're even right now. But yeah, and I was happy for Ramir. I mean, you're talking about a kid that I did not bring to camp. Okay, did not bring to camp, and over his body weight, right? And even in pregame today, he said to me, hey, I'm 205, which is what I told him. I said, if you're 205, you can play. If you're 206, you can't play, right? Which is funny. Me fighting with guys about their body weight, like it's a pot calling the kettle black. But he made a play. He's a really good football player, and so I was so happy to see that. I mean, who else had one? Malcolm had one. So I mean. That was good to be +1. And it's not like sometimes you guys have heard me say +7. What I really would like to do is be like +1, +2 every game. I don't want to have like, hey, we got 7 in one game and that skews the numbers. I just want to come out every game plus, because, a lot of these games are going to come down to the last possession. If you can steal a possession, then you have a chance. And I think the safety is a way of stealing a possession.
How important was it to reward these guys with a win? You worked so hard, obviously, and you actually got to reap the fruits of your labor.
Yeah, but they had to reward themselves. Like they had to go do it, right? And so I feel like there was such energy today in the meetings and the walkthroughs. This has been a great week of practice. There was so much energy about playing. And then again, the challenge at halftime to come out in the second half. And then they came out in the second half and I thought they played, right? And so, I made this comment about all the fans who stay to the very end. But, I thought our guys played hard to the very end. And I thought their team played hard to the very end. I mean, I really respect that, And so that wasn't one of those – sometimes you get those games, right, and everyone starts throwing punches and it gets chippy and ugly. And that was two teams that respected each other. So that's what Nebraska football is about to me, and it was good to be a part of it. But I'm happy for our guys. We're 1-0. I told them, I said, I don't I'll answer the one. I don't care about next week's game yet. I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning. I'm going to enjoy this. This was hard to do, and they've worked really hard to get there. We'll wake up tomorrow and we'll start it all over again. Thanks, guys.
All right, that's Matt Rhule at his post-game press conference. It's Big Red Overreaction, brought to you by Equitable Bank, where we take banking personally. Also brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair, and No Name Nutrition. Live a better, healthier, and more natural life. We'll check in with the scoreboard as we go on throughout the show. Brought to you by Peerless Energy Systems, your local compressed air systems. And, of course, always feel free to give us a call on the J. Sinnott Contracting Hotline or text 402-951-1620. One thing I want to talk about, we'll obviously get to callers here. William, you're going to be up next, and then Jim and Gary after that. There's a line open for you guys. He touched on it there at the end. This program exudes a different confidence today than it did a year ago from today. I was actually concerned about that a year ago today, where they're kind of approaching everything so methodically. We have to do these fundamental things right. Now it feels like they have enough confidence that they could do the fundamental things right. It's trained into them enough and then they can go out and do the extra things too. So I felt that today. I don't know how you guys felt. I also feel like Husker fans like this team. That exudes a confidence in the fan base, which has not been seen around here in a long time as well. I want to touch on all those thoughts as we continue on. It's Big Red Overreaction on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg.
Hello, I'm Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. If you've ever wanted to have your cake and eat it too, there's good news. You can have that every day at Equitable Bank. You get state-of-the-art mobile banking as well as online banking. And if you ever forget your password, don't worry. You can give us a call at 402-827-8100 and we'll answer it on the first ring to help. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
When it comes to protecting your home, Jay Stennett Contracting takes pride in ensuring every detail is handled. Roofing, siding, gutters. When it comes to the exterior of your home, Jay Stennett Contracting has you covered. Water, wind, and hail can wreak havoc on the exterior of your home. If your home is damaged, let Jay Stennett Contracting come out for a no-obligation inspection. If repairs are needed, they will help you through every step of the process. When you need an honest assessment, Jay Stennett Contracting has you covered. JSCRestoration.com.
It's Big Red Overreaction, brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Big Red Overreaction continues in 1 minute on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg.
At Dingman's, we understand that when you bring your vehicle to us, you're entrusting us with your safety and peace of mind. As part of this community, we're here to look after you and your family, just like we would our own. Our skilled technicians ensure every detail is handled with care, and our personal touch sets us apart. As your neighbors and fellow community members, we take pride in caring for the vehicles that keep our community moving. Locally owned and locally trusted. At Dingman's, we would rather be the best than apologize for anything less. Visit dingmans.com.
You probably never knew, but there is a name behind No Name Nutrition. That name is Hurley, and the Hurley family is dedicated to bringing the best products and experience available to you and your family. At No Name Nutrition, you won't just find natural foods, vitamins, or supplements. You'll also find bulk herbs, cosmetics, and cleaning products, even essential oils, more than 15,000 items. For nearly 50 years, No Name Nutrition, with the knowledge and service you deserve. North 72nd, West Center Road, and at nonamenenutrition.com.
The Big Red Overreaction postgame show. Live. Presented by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Also brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg.
40-7 is your final this afternoon. Nebraska moves to 1-0 in the season for the first time since 2019. Hopefully the next game goes a little bit differently than it did that year. We'll have plenty of time to discuss that this evening. Connor Happer, Nick Hanley with you. Go ahead, Nick.
Remember how we felt coming away from that game, though? It was a little
not
clunky.
Great.
It was a little clunky.
Not great. That was the South Alabama
game. And then you go into the first half of the Colorado game, you're thinking, oh, okay, that was one of those first game things. And then the second half of the Colorado game happened in Boulder when Nebraska fans completely took over that stadium. But
they got flea flicked.
Yes, they did. And we had kicking issues too. Real quickly, I know I don't want to go there anymore. Here's something. This is always fun to do.
Are you looking at the drive chart?
I am looking at are you looking at the drive chart too?
I love the drive chart.
The drive chart is fun. Okay, now it not all great. Touchdown, turnover and downs, punt, fumble. That's not good. Then touchdown, field goal. And then you're in the fourth quarter where downs and punt, which is fine.
Yeah, 11 drives, 5 touchdowns.
Yep.
And then a field goal on top of that as well.
Mid-third quarter, Nebraska was already at 65 plays ran when they were averaging 61 last year. That was mid-third quarter. So, again, improvements. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to say, hey, it was UTEP. Yeah, it was. It was UTEP. This was the first game. I don't care who it is because this is about Nebraska. This is about Nebraska. We've talked about this. I know you guys have talked about this a lot as well. This is more about what they do, not the opponent, how they look, how they function. Are they doing a lot of the little things that give you reason to believe that they have taken that step forward? Have they taken the step forward? We'll find out. We're not going to have that answered in 4 quarters against UTEP, but did they take a step forward? Yeah, absolutely they did.
No doubt. 3 drives of 70-plus yards and 3 drives of 5-plus minute drives on the day today. Back to the phones. Jason at Contracting Hotline. Big Red Overreaction rolls on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg. Here's William. William is gone. Here is not William. Let's go to the next caller. That is going to be Jim on the Jason at Contracting Hotline. Jim, thanks for holding with us. You're on Big Red Overreaction.
Hey, how we doing, guys?
Very good.
Good, Jim.
Hey, so I just want to kind of, first of all, I've been listening to you guys for, I don't know, 8 or 9 years. I've never had a reason to call in. This is a really
First-time
exciting
caller,
day.
Jim. I love that.
Yeah, long-time listener, first-time caller.
Hey, so let's talk about that last 2 minutes, huh? I mean, you want to talk about my anxiety getting shot through the roof. They're just lackadaisical. I'm watching the clock tick off. They knew. They were so confident. They knew we're going to get a field goal or a touchdown. The confidence is something I have not seen, I don't know, 15 years.
Yeah, it's a different
I
thing,
I was
isn't
having
it?
a panic attack watching that. But boy, they had that great pass play, that great touchdown. That was awesome to see that much trust in the offense, that much trust in the freshman quarterback. That was the play or the series that lets me know that this team's back. Nebraska's back, you know?
Jim, it's a great call, and thank you for it. By the way, we appreciate you listening for all that time and then now calling in for the first time. Make it a habit, why don't you? So he's talking about the drive at the end of the first half that ended in the Jamal Banks catch in the back of the end zone. Rhule just talked about it just then. And did you hear how he talked about it? He said, I didn't go up to them and say, "Oh, we got to be careful, you know, just make sure we get all this." And then the thought was coming back from the players, we're good. We've repped this. Yeah, we got this. We're going to take a shot up to Banks, and if we don't get it, then we'll kick a field goal. We'll be fine. That's pretty intense maturation year over year.
No doubt.
Pretty intense.
No doubt. And the one part that I know will get lost in a lot of the conversation that we're having today. Matt Rhule mentioned it, but he's the head coach. He's going to mention it, but I do think it is worth mentioning in that moment. We're going to look at Dylan Raiola's throw. We're going to look at the Jamal Banks catch, and you're going to be like, damn, that was impressive. Everything about that.
I thought that they were going to hold on the bricks because they were still back behind midfield. They got the ball at their own 41-yard line. And I think they ran a play and they let the clock go down to about a minute 15-ish. And I thought, I think they're going to probably just tap on the brakes here and take it to halftime. Hit a nice, I think it was like a 15 or 20 yarder. And then they were going from then. They got it all the way up to the, toward the goal line. And that was, they lulled me into thinking that they were just going to tap the brakes, maybe play for a field goal if you're lucky. But if not, we'll just take it to halftime. We'll take our lead and go in. No, they took it from 23-7 to 30-7 before halftime. That's the extra thing that you want to see for sure.
Well, and what Matt Rhule talked about with the offensive line holding up too, I think this is something that whether it's been consistent like that in practice or not, I think part of that confidence that you have there. Now, there was the one throw that he makes, great throw, still with a little bit of, it might have been on that touchdown pass too, where he had a little bit of heat on him. But throughout the game, and especially in that first drive when he's moving around the pocket, giving him a lot of credit for the pocket awareness too. But also there were times where he's looking one, he's looking two, he's looking three, then he's moving out of the pocket and he's doing it again because he's got that much time. So the confidence and the steadiness that you see in those moments, I think it's worth also giving credit to the offensive line of where I think Dylan's confident, because if that's a guy that's already gotten dudes at his feet early in that game and he feels a little bit of that pressure, and it'd be very easy for, I don't care how seasoned you are, even as a 19-year-old, and the maturation as a 19-year-old, you get guys coming at your feet and you don't feel like you've got time early when the game speed is what it is, that could lead to some bad things. So I got to give the offensive line on the whole, between everyone's going to talk about how they ran the football, but protection for the most part was pretty damn good.
Yeah, and there's a quiet confidence from Dylan, and there's a quiet intensity from him as well. Here's a comment from Jalapeno Pepper on the YouTube. Great call, Jim. I agree. That was insane. Great comment from Jalapeno Pepper. Back to the Jason at Contracting hotline. Here is Gary. Gary, you're on Big Red Overreaction.
Hey, guys. How are you doing?
Very good, Gary.
Awesome. Hey, man, what a great way to start the year, God, it's been 5 years since we've been 1-0, really complete in all phases of the game. Run game looked awesome. I think we finally have that right combination of where we have a passing threat, where we can open up the defense, and then we just start pounding the ball. Come third, fourth quarter, we're just going to start pounding the ball. I can't wait for next week. Like Vince talked about looking ahead. Yeah, I mean, we're coming after Dion. I'm gonna look way ahead because this is a big Red Overreaction.
Yeah.
What I'm gonna say is Kirby Smart. I hope you're watching. I hope you've enjoyed the last few years because we're coming after you, Kirby. And Georgia, you're going down, baby. Go Big Red.
Let's go, Carrie. Watch out, Kirby. Well, they didn't have much to worry about today. Did
You want to
they?
get nuts? Well, they did in the first half. It was, I don't know. It's kind of a slow.
Well,
first
if the
half
other
there.
team's not going to score or take anybody out of the transfer portal, it
Yeah.
probably might be, pretty easy to beat them. But yeah, man, the main point is like, yeah, it is a really nice way to start off the year.
It is. It absolutely is.
We've been talking about that all off season. Soft runway coming in, and there was some adversity like in the first half.
Yeah.
They missed the thing and they tied it up at 7-7 and
you fumble and
Yeah.
you have that moment of I even tweeted out of this again, and they didn't let that hurt them. Then all of a sudden the defense gets one. They are +1, which is fantastic. I'm with Matt Rhule, by the way. A safety should officially count
Good
because
take.
you are not only getting points out, which is great, but you are turning that team over. They got a kick to you, so you're getting a possession out of that as well. Also in the third quarter. This would have been late third quarter, early fourth. Is that when Nebraska picked up only its 4th penalty total? Or that might have been, I got to look at the penalty numbers here.
Jeez, I didn't even think about that all day today.
Yeah. See,
There wasn't much.
There's a case in point right there. You didn't think about it because it really wasn't an issue for Nebraska. So, and I think they had the one on their first possession.
3 for 35 accepted.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah. So they had, I think it was only the second penalty of the game was late third. You had to go all the way back to that first possession that they had one. So these are those things in the first game that you always think about of, okay, give me good product, but I can put up with some sloppy play because that's going to happen. That was clean. That is as clean as you're going to see a first game. Again, this doesn't mean they're Big Ten champions or they're going to win and just blow out Colorado next week. But this is exactly what you needed to see to give yourself confidence. If you're an 8-win team or a 9-win team, if you had them in that realm,
they check the box.
You're going to beat UTEP. That you always had that marked down as a win, but how do you look in doing so? You needed to look the part, and you know what? They covered.
Hey, so people were lighting me up on Twitter when Nebraska played all those quarterbacks late in the game. I was wrong about that. I didn't think it would be as clean as it was today. To Nick's point, I really didn't think so. I thought Nebraska would have a comfortable, but like if one thing goes horribly wrong, all of a sudden uncomfortable lead in the fourth quarter. Rhule made the point about the Louisiana Tech game last year. I thought it would kind of feel a little bit like that.
Yep.
It was comfortable, but not comfortable all at the same time. It was comfortable. Probably even before Banks caught that touchdown before the end of the first half. It was 23-7 and you felt like, oh, Nebraska's got the length that they need here. So it was a nice relaxing Saturday afternoon. Hopefully you get to pour yourself a drink and put something on the grill, something like that. We're hoping to talk to the folks who did that right now on the Jay Stennett Contracting Hotline. We go back there, and that's where we find Scott. Scott, thanks for waiting. You're on Big Red Overreaction.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Very good.
Good. Watching the game, I was just very impressed with the play calling. Scott Satterfield just did a great job. I thought that he utilized our running backs well. He utilized Raiola very well. I thought it was a great performance. And I think he doesn't get enough credit because of what we had last year. He kind of had to, just tailor the offense to what we had. And this is the guy that we're going to get. And I thought that it was a great job by Satterfield. I just want to know what you guys think about that.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Scott. I appreciate it.
I think Marcus Satterfield's pretty excited right now.
I said it all offseason. I thought this guy's going to have a victory lap this year because you'd be amazed at how easy it is to call plays when you have a quarterback who's functional and wide receivers who can get open. It's it's amazing how that changes right away. So yeah, I didn't think like what you want. You don't want to sit out there and say, hey, like we have a great play caller. Like nobody says that. You just don't want to notice it. Like you want to think that they're doing the right things. You don't want to look up at the screen and say, well, why did they do that? And why did they play it that way? And what was did they know what time it was? Did they know how many timeouts they had? All of the little ancillary stuff that has been such a problem in the Nebraska program, just the little stuff that always crops up and seems to cost them. It wasn't a thing today at all. And that doesn't mean it's never going to be a thing again, but it wasn't a thing in game one. And usually that stuff gets better as you go along.
Yeah, and to his point, and to your point as well, I think that what Marcus Satterfield was saddled with last year, and they even mentioned this during the broadcast where he's talking to people, picking their brain about the option, and his buddies that know him are like, "Who the hell are you? You're not an option guy here."
Yeah.
But he was trying to
figure it out.
He was trying to do whatever he could with the personnel that he had at that point. But I know we heard Matt Rhule say this, and I think in parts of this game, it was very true about not holding anything back when it came to Dylan Raiola and what you wanted to do with the playbook. But this also was Marcus Satterfield, and I think the game plan putting him in a great position to the way that they did commit and stay committed to the running game as well, because then you did start seeing guys loading up. Then you did see the ability where Dylan's eyes and those receivers' eyes are probably lighting up because,
yep,
exactly. And then all of a sudden you're hitting those hitters. So there was a lot of parts of the way this game flowed offensively that you can point to so many different areas and just give him a pat on the back that was well done. And Marcus Satterfield is definitely one of those guys.
I am Connor Happer. Nick Hanley is here as well. Joey Colbert is producing with us. Give Joey a call, 402-951-1620 on the Jay Stinnett Contracting Hotline. It is Big Red Overreaction presented by Equitable Bank, where we take banking personally, and by Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair, and by No Name Nutrition. Live a better, healthier, more natural life. We still have Nathan, Joe, and Laverne on hold. We'll take your calls for another probably hour and a half or so here on Big Red Overreaction on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The K.
When it comes to protecting your home, Jay Stinnett Contracting takes pride in ensuring every detail is handled. Roofing, siding, gutters. When it comes to the exterior of your home, Jay Stinnett Contracting has you covered. Water, wind, and hail can wreak havoc on the exterior of your home. If your home is damaged, let Jay Stinnett Contracting come out for a no-obligation inspection. If repairs are needed, they will help you through every step of the process. When you need an honest assessment, Jay Stinnett Contracting has you covered. JSCRestoration.com.
Peerless Energy Systems is Nebraska and Iowa's locally owned and operated authorized solar air compressor distributor. Peerless Energy Systems provides products and solutions for compressed air systems, helping companies in manufacturing, food processing, transportation, auto body repair, car dealers, and more. Driving industry efficiency through service, support, and relationships, let Peerless Energy Systems help you increase efficiency with your compressed air systems today. PeerlessEnergy.com.
It's Big Red Overreaction, brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Big Red Overreaction continues in 1 minute on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The K.
Hello, I'm Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. If you've ever wanted to have your cake and eat it too, there's good news. You can have that every day at Equitable Bank. You get state-of-the-art mobile banking as well as online banking. And if you ever forget your password, don't worry. You can give us a call at 402-827-8100 and we'll answer it on the first ring to help. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
When it comes to protecting your home, Jay Stinnett Contracting takes pride in ensuring every detail is handled. Roofing, siding, gutters. When it comes to the exterior of your home, Jay Stinnett Contracting has you covered. Water, wind, and hail can wreak havoc on the exterior of your home. If your home is damaged, let Jay Stinnett Contracting come out for a no-obligation inspection. If repairs are needed, they will help you through every step of the process. When you need an honest assessment, Jay Stinnett Contracting has you covered. JSCRestoration.com.
Big Red Overreaction is live, featuring the most important voice of all, yours. Sound off now, 402-951-1620. Presented by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. And No Name Nutrition on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The K.
The 101st season of football at Memorial Stadium results in a Nebraska win, 40-7 against the University of Texas at El Paso. Also, the first season of cashless football. That's what we're calling this, cashless football.
It wasn't all pretty at Memorial Stadium today.
I'm waiting for the call. Maybe it'll be in one of our next segments here as we head back to the Jay Stinnett Contracting Hotline here on Big Red Overreaction. That's where we find Nathan in northern Iowa. Hi, Nathan.
What's up, fellas?
What's up, Nathan?
Nathan, living in Northwest Iowa, Husker fan for life.
That's
right?
good.
Hey, all I want to throw out is it was a great game. It's about time. Enjoyed it. But the one thing I want to say is it's good to see Harburg get in. Or not Harburg, my bad, Graham's dad, because proud dad here, played with my son Campbell, played with Graham's dad, Northwestern College, intercepted him at practice.
Oh,
nice. Yeah.
So my son is intercepted a Nebraska quarterback. Let's go, baby.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Nathan, incredible. Great stuff.
Yeah. Good talk, boys.
Okay, good talk. Yeah, thanks, Nathan. Bye. Jalen Football, 1 of 3 for 11 yards today.
Yeah, we were watching
was,
him.
The third quarterback.
He was like a little Manziel out there.
Yeah, I was very wrong about all the things I said about the line of quarterbacks that would come into the game. I'll own that one. I just thought, first of all, Raiola would play all the plays. And then, Heinrich came in after Dylan lost his helmet, but
no, he didn't. Because he didn't have to.
He didn't have to.
You're right.
They had
he
the
did come in
2-minute
because they had the
timeout.
2-minute timeout. So technically, he did not have to.
But they put him in anyway because that's what they were going to do, and he handed it off.
Right.
And then they ended up converting a third down with Dylan, right?
Yes.
That was on the drive at the end of the first half.
I'm pretty sure the coaching staff knew that. We don't have to put him in, but hey, why not?
Jason writes in on our text line, we are undefeated in cashless football. Indeed.
It's true.
The cashless era is here.
Cashless era, it is a good thing.
The cashless era is here. Hopefully, you're going to stop people from doing this next week because they're going to be wanting to do this.
Oh my gosh.
A little bit of this.
It's hard not to start to think ahead to next Saturday.
I've been thinking about it a lot.
Well, and not even just the way Nebraska played, because we're going to have plenty of time to get to all of that and how Colorado played and what that game means, but just the volume of the stadium today. And I don't think it was any surprise that it was going to be a juiced atmosphere just because people are excited about this team. Season opener. It's at home for once, too. It felt like forever since you're opening the game at home. But just having the issues, you saw both quarterbacks, Locklear and McConnell, having issues being able to hear, which it was kind of a cool thing in the broadcast. And thank you to Scotty Walden for letting.
You mean Ryan Gosling?
Yeah, he is. He's basically Kingsbury. Yeah, he looks a lot like Cliff Kingsbury. I mean, we're going to call him Ryan Gosling. Hopefully he's not as big of a liability in the secondary as Ryan Gosling was.
Nice.
But you trying to hear that and then understanding how loud it was, and Matt Rhule is confirming how it was for them on the field, that it was just a very, very loud environment. That thing times 5, maybe more next Saturday. It's going to be it's hard not to get excited about.
All you need is just a game like that, because we brought up the 19 game earlier, the South Alabama game when they went into Colorado, and obviously people were confident back then because Nebraska was still coming off of a really strong finish to the 2018 season. We were still high on Frost, that entire thing. But there is a confidence within that fan base, and I heard it today, and it was against UTEP, but I don't think it was because it was against UTEP. It was the same attitude that I think I want the defense to be playing with all year, rather than we're going to get the ball in this situation where our backs are up against the wall because the offense made this bad turnover. We got to come through for them. No, it's like we're going to pin our ears back and we're going to go. I thought I heard that today from the fans. So to your point, Nick, I mean, next week, I think there is a real confidence after watching Colorado on Thursday and after watching Nebraska today that Nebraska is finally going to get off the schneid against them. And you're going to feel that next Saturday night on Big Ten Saturday night.
Oh, thank you, Fall Out Boy.
Yes, if you need a Saturday night song, Fall Out Boy.
If you're a TV network and you need a cool song to hype up your product, get Fall Out Boy.
Back to the Jay Sinek Contracting Hotline. Here is Joe. Joe's been waiting for a few minutes. Joe, welcome to Big Red Overreaction.
What is up, fellas? How you guys doing?
Oh, we're very good, Joe.
Much better compared to sort of last few years. I was at the game, enjoyed myself. Couple things, a little bit strange for what everybody else. Is there any chance we can get Jeff Sims back? Anybody?
Why? You want to see more turnovers?
Yeah, no. I don't think anybody's missing that dude.
Okay.
Best of luck to Mr. Sims. But
come on.
Turner Corcoran had a doggone pretty good game.
Yeah.
I hope people recognize that. I know it was UTEP, but they said UTEP had a lot of experienced defensive linemen. I thought Turner Corcoran being at the game, Ben Hart, it wasn't perfect, but both those guys had a pretty good game, and I just wanted to mention that. That's all I got.
Joe here for good offensive line play. We love it. Thanks,
I'd
Joe.
have to watch it again.
Yeah, I don't watch the offensive line really, but I was trying to.
Matt Verzal, who obviously we know him, great friend of the program too, talked about what he's looking for is just that initial surge from the offensive line, the point of impact, point of contact at the line of scrimmage. And early on, especially when Nebraska was, you could tell, very much committed to running the football to open things up. There definitely was that impact where they're driving the defensive line back. There, I would maybe think I have to go back and look again and watch again. Dare I say Turner Corcoran might have had a better game than Bryce Benhart.
And Benhart had the one penalty, right?
Yeah, yep. And then I remember seeing Ben Scott got beat. I think it was on a twist, but for the most part, Turner Corcoran was. Here's the best part: Turner Corcoran was not really part of the story at all today, which is a good thing. We're not talking about Turner Corcoran, and that's typically good because when we are, it's like, oh my God, he's a turnstile. So I think, yeah, exactly. Didn't notice him, and I think he might have had a better game. I think he might have been the best tackled out there today.
Yeah, we'll see how they grade out.
Yeah, we need to see the PFF grades.
I gotta listen to the Pro Football Focus.
Yeah.
You know,
I'll reserve my official ruling on that.
Yeah, but I certainly don't come out of that game concerned about the offensive line.
No.
They probably played 14 of them too. So, there's that whole
Yep.
thing as well.
Yep.
Back to the Jay Senate Contracting Hotline here on Big Red Overreaction, brought to you by Equitable Bank, where we take banking personally. It is Laverne. Laverne's been holding on for a few minutes. Laverne, welcome to Big Red Overreaction.
Oh, thank you guys. Hey, Connor, I enjoy listening to you and your podcast with Mitch. It is it's one of the things I listen to when I go on my walk in the morning.
Many have said that we're a great walking podcast. Thank you.
Yeah, you are. But I want to hold the role a little bit because to me, UTEP is closer to Austin Peay than it is to Colorado. So because Colorado has at least 3 guys that are NFL type players.
Sure.
I don't think anyone from UTEP has any chance of being in the NFL. So a little roll there to slow it down. But I did enjoy the game. Did Dowdell ever get back in the game after he fumbled? Is that he got really kind of punished for fumbling that ball?
He ended up coming back in.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. But I mean,
did he come back in?
Yep.
Yeah, but you're right though. They definitely sat him down after he fumbled.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to me, it was kind of like, oh, you're going to be punished for fumbling, and think about it when you run the ball next time.
No doubt. Laverne, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Thanks for listening to both the podcast and the radio show, of course.
Good walking podcast there.
So
something about number 23 wearing that jersey and opening.
He looked good. It's the positive and the negative of having 4 running backs. But it really, and Rhule detailed it a little bit after the game. He said he was probably 4th after the spring. And we saw him in the spring game, and I don't think there was anything real impressive. I know he had the big run, but he was kind of gimpy.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like,
it wasn't explosive.
Yeah, I don't know what this is. And I certainly would have pegged him as 4th, coming into the fall. But he seems to have made a nice run to the point where he was the second guy out there. Ramir ended up getting the first look today, and then it was and all 4 of them got carries. We'll see how those carry shares look when Nebraska's in a more competitive game. But 8 for Emmett Johnson, 8 for Dante Dowdell, 11 for Amir Johnson, and 6 for Gabe Irvin. Gabe got all the short yardage stuff.
Yeah.
And he scored twice.
And again, going back to the offensive line and in that part of what we saw from them today, I don't know if I remember, unless it was later in the game when you did have second and third teamers in, you weren't seeing running backs trying to avoid a defender in the backfield. I mean, they were getting to the line of scrimmage, and that's where they were pushing forward.
Brock Hewitt had to let go right through your face on one of the on the Irvin touchdown.
Yeah,
right through your face. That kind of jacked me up a little bit.
And again, a great just point of contact from the offensive line today. Again, everyone's going to say it's UTEP, and I understand that. What Colorado brings in next week is obviously a much, much more talented team. But this was the opponent you had today, and we've seen Nebraska in the past play teams of similar caliber where they have maybe a guy here and there, but collectively you're more talented and still mess around with up until late in the fourth quarter. Hell, they lost a game and had to fire coach the next day because of it.
Yeah.
So let's not forget that.
With that being said, I do think there are some things that you could take from this game. I think the way this sets up, they tempoed them on their one touchdown, on UTEP's one touchdown. It was all tempo. I mean, they were hyper speed, and then they ended up getting a one-on-one with Hartzog, and he got beat. So I mean, that's something you're absolutely going to see. That's the only way Colorado can beat Nebraska next week, and they're a lot better, obviously, on the perimeter. So that's the concerns with Colorado are still the concerns with Colorado. Like the defensive secondary is going to have to be, ready to roll on that one, but not as I wasn't before the game, and as I'm not now. I'm not really worried about the trenches, and I'm not really worried about the middle of the field. I think Nebraska should own all of that. It's just, how much can Colorado get exposed on the perimeter?
And I don't know how you felt about Dylan going into this game as far as what type of game he would have or what he needed to have to give you the confidence that, okay, that was a pretty solid debut. We can look at the numbers, and the numbers are great. They truly are. But the body language in the heat of the moment, to me, is what stood out more than anything. He just looked so calm in the middle of the play, looking downfield, still moving to his right, still moving to his left. There was nothing where he just looked erratic, where he never seemed to get happy feet. This is why when we've talked about him many times that he's built different, he's just different. It's not because he's got very good arm strength, he's got good accuracy, all those physical things about him, I think have been well documented. The thing that I've felt has always stood out about him that we've seen in small doses is a very even keel approach, just extremely calming approach out there, even when guys are bearing down on you.
And it's not just about what it functionally does during the game and during the plays. It's like the effect that it has on the people around him. Obviously, that manifests itself during the plays and during the games. But it's just when you have your quarterback who you look, it's coming in the side. I don't know what we could do about it, honestly. It's just staring me in the eye. So if you're watching along with us on YouTube, it's just the sun is coming in a very specific spot right now. It should be gone in 5 minutes. But like, he just exudes that, and there is a real confidence about him, and it just rubs off on everybody else. He's really advanced in that category. He knows how to play the position. Back to the Jason at Contracting Hotline. Here is Sean. Sean, you're on Big Red Overreaction. Sean, you with us? All right, Sean. Sorry. Kept you on. Well, no apologies from us today. We're not going to apologize for this.
No.
Back to the phones. That just means Jake gets a little earlier call today. Jake, how we doing? Oh, Jake quit too. We got quitters out here now. Let's see if we can go to Cool Dude Phil on the Jason at Contracting Hotline. Hi, Cool Dude Phil.
Nick.
Yes,
there
it is.
There we go.
The artist formerly known as Positive Phil.
Oh,
is our guy.
Yeah. Hey, this will be an inside thing with me and Nick. Hey, did Gary get that runner in his pantyhose patched up? Anyways, I'm gonna keep going. I sent
find out on Tuesday.
I send Jimmy a lot of emails about my pro wrestling stuff, and I didn't know he didn't share them with you.
He did not.
So I sent you an email.
Okay.
Anyway, so last year I was talking about Satterfield, and I said, he thought he had a good quarterback coming in, and he ordered a Happy Meal, and he ordered double fries, but he got apple slices. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now he got his double fries, but he got a warm apple pie, and he didn't expect it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we talked on Friday about the culture. And for me, what really showed is how intense we were in the fourth quarter with 7 minutes left on defense. With the second and third teamers in, it felt like, and I hate to say this, but it felt like Wistrom was on the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That we just have intensity. We have togetherness. It felt like if there was no scoreboard, no time, or anything like that, it felt like the defense was playing a 0-0 ball game.
Yeah.
And if any, the people that have played football out there, you've been in a game where you're up 28 points and all of a sudden you look up and you're up 7 because you just relax and they crawl their way back in. And I think that really defines the character of this team and coaching staff, with them being able to keep that intensity throughout the game, especially when they knew the game was over. Once we were at halftime, they knew it was over basically. And then we came out in the second half and we put our foot on their throat, which is a characteristic of Ghost of Nebraska past that we haven't been able to do. So that was very encouraging. And of course, Dylan was
everything that we dreamed he would be. He was, like I said, he was so calm. And I guess 35-10. You got something close to that, didn't you, Nick?
I was 38-10 is where I was.
Yeah. So look at us. Look at the big brain on us.
Brad.
Anyways, hey, you guys have a good weekend. We'll enjoy it a little bit more with this. We have something to look forward to. And hey, Nick, I'll call you next week, maybe Friday. Does that sound good?
That sounds great on our end. I know that. Thanks, CDP.
Thank you, Phil.
All right, brother. Later.
Okay, so there is something about being good at defense is not just something that you do, right? And I'm not talking about like how you become good at defense, but to Phil's point, if you are up 40-7 and the game is meaningless and all your ninth stringers in the fourth quarter, you want to, and you're out there, it is your responsibility to make damn sure that they don't get to 10 or they don't get to 14. And there is like, that just permeates its way throughout the program. And like I said, I would go back to the fan thing. Like I felt that in the fan base today too. It just fits this program so well to have a defensive oriented football team. And now they've made this gigantic leap on offense, which is, just a cherry on top, the apple pie dessert, whatever. I mean, but like this program in defense it's synonymous with each other. Yeah. And when they go out there, you trust them. And I mean, like I was sad when they got that touchdown today because I thought there was a shot that Nebraska could allow 0 points today, and they damn near did. Yeah, they did. And the first drive, I thought there was a lot of people going back to our roundtable on Thursday. I think there was some discussion about this on Friday as well, that a lot of people thought UTEP would score in their first drive because the tempo, if they got that first down, which we obviously did not see in the first drive. Nebraska's defense was all over them. But in that second drive, and you pointed this out, they get that first down. All of a sudden, they go tempo, and they were gashing Nebraska. Yeah. I mean, they gashed him in that drive. It's really the one moment where they were on their heels. Yeah, they were. But this is where I give this defense sure, I'll give the coaches a lot of credit because I think they've set the tone for this culture, but it's the upperclassmen, this defense. It starts with those guys that I guarantee you they were yelling at each other when they got off the sideline there. They were pissed off at each other for that. They ain't scoring anymore. Absolutely. And they were telling everybody who they probably said, you're going to be playing later in this game too, because we're going to make sure of that. So you better not let them get in the end zone, and you better not let them get in the end zone. You're right. That is absolutely, you got to have skill. You got to have the right technique, all the right fits, all those things. But it is a culture. You got to have that nastiness and that pride in it. I know that sounds very kumbaya and an old school guy, but that is true. It's real. And it's not just a top 11. It's a top 22. It's a top, 33. It's the people that are in the game late when you have to protect something like that. Yeah. Always have something to protect. And they did today, even though they were up 40-7 or, the game was over basically at halftime. All right. It's Big Red Overreaction here, brought to you by Equitable Bank, where we take banking personally. Also brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair. And No Name Nutrition. Live a better, healthier, happier, more natural life. I just threw in happier because I just figured. I thought you were going to say happer. You could do that too, but it's No Name Nutrition. And you can give us a call or a text 402-951-1620, the J Stinnett Contracting Hotline. We will come back. Many things left to get into here on the maiden voyage of Big Red Overreaction 2024 on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg.
At Dingman's, we understand that when you bring your vehicle to us, you're entrusting us with your safety and peace of mind. As part of this community, we're here to look after you and your family, just like we would our own. Our skilled technicians ensure every detail is handled with care, and our personal touch sets us apart. As your neighbors and fellow community members, we take pride in caring for the vehicles that keep our community moving. Locally owned and locally trusted. At Dingman's, we would rather be the best than apologize for anything less. Visit dingmans.com.
You probably never knew, but there is a name behind No Name Nutrition. That name is Rhule, and the Rhule family is dedicated to bringing the best products and experience available to you and your family. At No Name Nutrition, you won't just find natural foods, vitamins, or supplements. You'll also find bulk herbs, cosmetics, and cleaning products, even essential oils, more than 15,000 items. For nearly 50 years, No Name Nutrition, with the knowledge and service you deserve. North 72nd, West Center Road, and at nonamenenutrition.com.
It's Big Red Overreaction, brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Big Red Overreaction continues in 1 minute on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg.
Hello, I'm Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. If you've ever wanted to have your cake and eat it too, there's good news. You can have that every day at Equitable Bank. You get state-of-the-art mobile banking as well as online banking. And if you ever forget your password, don't worry. You can give us a call at 402-827-8100 and we'll answer it on the first ring to help. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Peerless Energy Systems is Nebraska and Iowa's locally owned and operated authorized solar air compressor distributor. Peerless Energy Systems provides products and solutions for compressed air systems, helping companies in manufacturing, food processing, transportation, auto body repair, car dealers, and more. Driving industry efficiency through service, support, and relationships, let Peerless Energy Systems help you increase efficiency with your compressed air systems today. PeerlessEnergy.com.
Big Red Overreaction now on 2 big stations. KOOO, La Vista, Omaha, Council Bluffs. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. Sound off on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg. More info and opinions on Big Red than one station can handle. Big Red Overreaction, presented by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair, and No Name Nutrition on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg.
Connor Happer with you. Nick Hanley over there counting the names on the participation report. Big Red Overreaction brought to you by Equitable Bank, where we take banking personally, and by Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair, and by No Name Nutrition. Live a better, healthier, and more natural life. We got a tweet from Nick, who says, different Nick, who said, according to the Husker.com participation report, 106 Nebraska football players got on the field today. So we'll check the math on that. And Nick is giving me a thumbs up, which means
that is correct. I hand counted them.
106.
I had to make sure.
Half the population of Grand Island played. Wait, no, I don't think that's right. I should have picked a smaller town.
308. Let's go.
106 times the population of Monowai.
Ooh, okay.
Can we Google a town that has about 106 people in it?
At one point, I know Rogers, Nebraska, between Schuyler and Fremont, had 95, 96. I don't know what it is right now. So just over.
Okay.
I don't know if
over
anybody,
the population of
just over the population of Rogers, Nebraska.
Boxing True writes in. He wonders about one particular Husker that did not play, Malachi Coleman. He was hurt.
Yep.
He has been hurt, and they wanted to. Rhule mentioned earlier in the week that they just weren't going to play him if they didn't have to.
Right.
There was a few guys who were in that category, and Malachi was one of them. He had been wearing a yellow jersey at practice for much of the last couple of weeks, got back, and just isn't quite ready to go yet. But he'll factor into the equation this year, so make that like 107 or whatever it might have. Norm writes in, that's 29 more than Colorado has on their roster.
There we go.
Brian says Arlington, Nebraska. Arlington, Nebraska. That's got to have more than.
I feel like Arlington. Yeah, I feel like
got to be in the thousands.
I feel like Arlington's probably like at least 1,000.
Let's hit you with a scoreboard here, presented by Peerless Energy Systems, your local compressed air systems experts. Earlier in the day today, there were really no good games in the 11 o'clock window. I mean, Georgia, Clemson ended up being a big Georgia show. 34-3, Georgia takes down Clemson. Penn State, after the long delay, ends up beating West Virginia soundly 34-12. Iowa has offense and wins against Illinois State 40-0, although it wasn't pretty in most occasions. Oklahoma State takes down South Dakota State 44-20. Tennessee beats Chattanooga 69-3. Miami wrecks Florida 41-17. Texas blanks Colorado State 52-0. Ohio State beats Akron 52-6. Michigan's got a 7-0 lead on Fresno. Texas A&M and Notre Dame just underway. Texas A&M got a field goal. And on the Big Ten Network, Oregon is out to a 7-0 lead against Idaho. Any other teams that you're interested in from today? I think I kind of covered it.
I think you got
There
all
wasn't
the-
a whole
you
lot
got the meat
going
and
on today,
potatoes.
honestly.
Yeah.
I thought the 11 a.m. slate would give us a little bit more than it did with the Penn State thing and then the Clemson Georgia thing, and neither of those games ended up being good.
We could go from last night's Big Ten slate, which was actually rather dull. Wisconsin, who won.
Yeah, that was close.
Yeah, 28-14 against Western. And then you had Michigan State defeating Florida Atlantic 16-10.
Northwestern was able to beat Miami of Ohio today on the lakefront 13-6. So that bodes well for
They
their
had
season.
Dozens of people at that game, too.
And UCLA already down on the road at Hawaii 7-0. That is the scoreboard update presented by Peerless Energy Systems, your local compressed air systems experts. It's Big Red Overreaction as Nebraska wins 40-7 this afternoon against UTEP. We go back to the Jay Stinnett Contracting Hotline, and that's where we find Dave. Hey, Dave, what's going on? Dave, you with us? Dave. All right, Dave. All right. Sorry, Dave. Don is next. Don, you're up on Big Red Overreaction. Don! All right. Let's see if we can go a quick strikeout here. Brett is next on Big Red Overreaction. Brett?
Hey, you guys got me?
Yeah!
We got you, Brett.
Hey,
welcome,
Brett.
welcome,
There
welcome.
we are.
Thanks
There
for
we
saving
are.
us from a quick punchy.
Not been bad.
Hey, you know what? Driving down Highway 92, there's nothing better to do than listen to Big Red Overreaction.
Yeah, clip that, Joey. Thank you.
And he did.
We'll be using that.
That'll be in a
Thanks.
promo, Brett. Thank you.
There we go. Hey, last time I called in about 2 minutes into the third quarter when I was sitting at a brewery in Boulder, Colorado about a year ago. So a lot better feeling right now. No, hey, you know what? Felt like a great game. Didn't have to show a whole lot on offense. Dylan looked great. That, you know, the one drive that UTEP really got it going, it raised some red flags for me. But, feeling good, feeling great. Just really first time, been listening to 1620 for 10 years now. First time I can call in and be like, gosh darn, that was a great game. That was great.
Isn't it nice?
Yeah, not much to gripe about.
Yeah. No, it was awesome.
So
Really
what's the traffic like on Highway 92 right now?
Well, heading east back out of Omaha, heading back to Wahoo, nobody. Going back into Omaha, there's quite a few folks going back. So
what a
we're
nice
doing great.
evening.
Just seeing, oh God, it's amazing. Absolutely fantastic. Again, thanks for everything you guys do. Great show. Listen in every week. Can't say first time listener, but awesome. Keep going.
Thanks, Brett.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Brett.
it. We're going to keep going. We're indeed going to keep going.
Yeah, I think that's a very common sentiment right now where there's little things and look, this coaching staff, I'm okay. Might I throw another cliche in there? Because I don't think there is a lot of things that people are going to look at that are going to be overly concerned about with what they saw from UTEP, other than the fact that they're going to be like, yeah, but it was UTEP and Colorado's got a lot of better players. Yeah, sure. Okay. All that stuff. But what do the coaches always say in the most cliche fashion between weeks 1 and 2? Most improvement, right? I'm actually really excited to see, based on what we watched today from this group, what they did against a team that, yes, they have more talent than. Yes, they should have beat them. But they did, and they did it in a pretty convincing fashion, very low stress in that one, and yet there is still things that they can improve on. That makes me more excited than when you look like absolute dog crap in
And
week
just
1.
try to squeak away.
Yeah, and then you're hoping yeah,
how
but it
Luke
was
Fickell's
week 1.
feeling right now.
Right, absolutely. They're like, okay, it was week 1, so we'll just chalk it up to that too. We'd be like, hey, you know what? That looked pretty decent.
Yeah, not
and
terribly
you've got more improvement to make right now.
We can guarantee you, if you call in at 402-951-1620 on the Jay Stinnett Contracting Hotline, you will be on the show within minutes. Your queue time is 0 minutes and 0 seconds. We will be getting to you right after this. So you can call in right now, 402-951-1620, as Nebraska wins 40-7 this afternoon against UTEP. Here is, we got, who helped us out? Oh, yeah, Joel here on Twitter. He tweets at Connor Happer at Nick Hanley 1620. Towns with 106 people in our great state, Bartlett and Ruskin.
Okay.
Bartlett, Nebraska.
Yes.
Shout out Bartlett and shout out Ruskin. I don't know
Nice.
where either of these places
And thank
are.
you, Joel.
And thank you, Joel, definitely, as well. Matt wonders on Twitter, I didn't see Jalen Lloyd in the stat sheet. Did he play, or is he possibly going to redshirt? He played. He was in with the second group.
Mm-hmm.
that was a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, I thought I would see.
He didn't have a catch.
So
he didn't have a touch.
Initially, with the touchdown catch by Nayor, for a second there, I thought it was Jalen Lloyd for a split second. And then I realized, oh, wait, no, it's 18.
Yeah.
And then you could realize the body type a little taller. But as he made the catch, remember, he's kind of stumbling down and then regains his feet and gets into the end zone.
Incredible.
Yeah.
That guy is a stud.
He is. I mean,
he totally stands out.
He does. And that's one of those things of what we heard about the transfers. And if anybody went to the open practice or you had a chance to see some of these guys, in whether it was a spring game or in the open practice, you're right. I mean, that's the first thing is their size, but how impactful on the field they are.
It's amazing because there were some people, and now the phones are, so your queue time is just one more minute after I get this takeout. Because there was a lot of people before the season who were like, well, okay, yeah, they're going to get better. They have Raiola. But like, how do we know they've gotten transfer wide receivers before and it's never done anything. It's never fixed the offense. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you. I think, you're making that progression from year 1 to year 2. And I'm telling you, the Banks and Nair are different. Banks gets the single digit number. And then I go to a couple practices and I see Isaiah Nair look the way he does and do the things that he does in the football field. And I'm like, yeah, that's not Billy Kemp. That's not kind of Noah. That's not the Levi Falk, like that's not those guys.
Right.
So, there shouldn't really be concerns about that group with especially those two. I mean, they were the two leading receivers today with Nair with 121 and a touchdown. And then that great play along the sideline and Banks with the 4 catches, 61 yards and a touchdown. Bonner had 3 catches. Carter Nelson had 3. Fedoni had 3, kind of got strung out on some weird tight end screen plays. Lindenmeyer had a catch. Bullock had a catch. These are all late. Roman Mangini. Ja'Cory Barney, kind of splashed a little bit. And then a couple running backs had catches. Keelan Smith.
Ja'Cory Barney will house one before the season over.
Oh, I love that.
He will house one before this. I love
prediction.
I love that there's very little hesitation with him. Even when he's shifting direction, he's still moving downhill. He's still moving ahead. I love that about him. That kid he will house one. You mentioned Thomas Fedoni. Yeah, it was interesting. You can tell they want to heavily involve him in what they're doing in the passing game. A lot of the stuff was on the perimeter.
I think he's going to be active over the middle next week.
I'm 100% with you. I think there is going to be a lot of Thomas Fedoni, but I love the fact that he is. They're searching him out there. He's heavily involved in this offense. So yeah, even though the overall production wasn't great, he's going to be a big part of this offense.
Back to the Jay Senate Contracting Hotline. Your queue time is now back to 0 seconds. Randy is up next. Randy, what's up? You're on Big Red Overreaction.
Hey, first time caller here. I've been listening to you guys for a long time, and
Hell
I
yeah.
got a couple of takes from the game.
Let's do it.
Yeah, the first one is, I'm usually waiting for the shoe to drop and, Nebraska kind of give up. But after the first couple possessions, I was like, they got confidence. They got poise. This is a team like we haven't seen in a long time. And
Had some juice, Randy.
They did. And the second thing, I kind of noticed, Dylan played a great game. A lot of poise, a lot of confidence in the pocket and everything. Didn't see him run very much. I'm wondering if maybe this is something they're kind of keeping in their pocket so that they can use against Colorado when Colorado comes to town to kind of hide or masquerade a little bit of his mobility and his running ability.
Randy, great call. Interesting. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. And thanks for listening. And make yourself a frequent caller here to 1620
right.
The Zone. So no design quarterback runs today.
No.
0, which is picture perfect to me.
I'm very much on board with that.
As far as like if you're setting up something, I don't know, man. I just think obviously he can move if things break down on him. And so naturally he's going to get a few of those, as does his big cuzzo Patrick Mahomes does sometimes. Like he'll get some yards that way, but no, I don't think they're like hiding anything.
Yeah.
I don't think they're saying, hey, look, we got this, little card in our pocket and we're going to show it next week because we're playing a better team. I just think that's the way they're going to be.
And I think that they like what they can do in
That's
the
a
running
good thing,
game.
by the
When
way.
it comes to multiple running backs, they can do different things. And you saw them today. You saw
They were pretty diverse.
Exactly what they said. Yes, they were.
Yeah,
they absolutely were.
They were doing some different concepts in the run game too. It wasn't all just like, hey, we're going to ram it up your face. Like it was, they did some different things. It just underlines once again how handcuffed they were last year with what they were doing in the run game. So if Pat RPOs are back in play, you could do some of that stuff. Screen game, we didn't see much. That's a card that they might have in their back pocket, that they could throw out there next week. But as far as Raiola running, it won't be designed.
No, you're right.
It really won't.
It's going to be strictly out of being out of the pocket, being patient, and then seeing some type of space between an angle between him and the sideline. And look, this is we're talking about Nebraska starting off the season, which we couldn't do this a year ago, of +1 in the turnover margin. That's huge, and that's also a big part of preserving Dylan Raiola with what he's going to do with his legs. You are the fact that you mentioned it, and I totally agree. 0 design runs, which is a great thing for a guy that is not going to hurt you with his legs when it comes to that.
Even with Harburg, by the way, who played a bunch of snaps.
Yep. I just think that you understand if you're really trying to reduce that number, you're trying to eliminate those risk factors, and you're not necessarily hurting your offense by doing so when you take the legs of Dylan Raiola away, because he's not air crouch. Okay. This isn't a guy, even he said wearing 15, don't expect him to be run like Tommy Frazier.
Sorry, different guy.
not Cuzzo.
Different 15. Husker Country says on YouTube, and you ran the ball okay today, not dominant, but well enough. Yeah, I mean, like I said, they ran it ended up being 223 today. In Big Ten play, if you keep that number around 150, you do enough on the ground. Yeah. You're going to have enough to win the game.
You're 4.7 a pop now. That also you put in the the Maurice Mazuka guys, Kenneth Williams, Quentin Ives, Jalen Gramstead.
Yeah, they didn't go.
Mackay Nelson, all those guys. But if you're looking at the top 4 producers and carrying the football, Emmett had 8.9 a carry. Dante Dowdell had 6.9 a carry.
How about Emmett Johnson? Let's just staying steady. Having an Emmett Johnson game.
Exactly. Not eclipsing 100 yards, but giving you 8.9 a carry.
What did we say? Like, what's a nice game for Emmett Johnson? I don't know, like 10 carries, 70 yards or something like that.
I think we're like, always, are we maxing him out at 75? Yeah. He's going to have
8 for 71.
A big one, but now that you're a little bit more loaded in this room right now, I think the biggest surprise was not Emmett. Emmett was very Emmett, was Dante Dowdell.
Yeah.
Based on what we'd seen in the spring.
Outside of the fumbly.
Yep. It was trending to what we saw today, but I thought he looked pretty good.
All right, back to the J. Senate Contracting Hotline. It's Big Red Overreaction, presented by Equitable Bank, where we take banking personally. Here is Joel. Joel, you're on Big Red Overreaction. What's cooking? Joel! All right, we're moving on quick. Jay is next on the J. Senate Contracting Hotline. Hey, Jay.
Hey. This is the first season opener in I think 6, maybe 7 years that I haven't had to eat a whole jar of Rolaids after the first quarter, and I didn't drink a case of my Lanta after the second quarter.
Amazing. What a day for you, Jay.
I know. And I actually, dare I say, felt a little confidence going into the second half.
Embrace it.
I don't
Embrace it.
Jinx the season. But,
no, it's okay.
The lines look pretty good, and just technically, the O-line didn't seem to be missing any blocks or stumbling over their own feet like they had before. The only thing I didn't see a lot of, because they weren't out there, which is great, and I don't know, is a question on special teams. I don't know how our kicking game truly is.
Unanswered, for sure. Unanswered, but, did what they had to do today.
Yeah, Brian Buschini he had 2 punts. He averaged 48.5. You'll take that. Now, larger sample size, we'll find out. But, I mean, what's the thing about Brian Buschini? We know he can hit it long, but it also comes back with like a 20-yard shank. Hey, he had 2 punts today and averaged 48.5.
I'll take it right now.
We'll take it. Thanks, Jay. Appreciate it. Enjoy your not drinking Rolaids.
Yeah, I don't.
Does not sound good. Does not sound good.
No
Rolaids necessary today.
No.
You could have had the opposite of, what's the opposite of Rolaids? Like mozzarella stick?
Yeah. I mean,
I hope you had a lot of mozzarella sticks.
What gets at you? Something.
Fill up those arteries.
Something fried.
Why not?
Yeah.
All right, back to the J. Senate Contracting Hotline here on Big Red Overreaction. It is Aaron. Aaron, how we doing?
Hey, good. How are you, gentlemen?
Very good.
Good, man.
Good. Hey, couple thoughts. Throughout the week, there's a lot of buzz, which I haven't seen or felt in the last 29 years. This is my 29th year of being at the Husker game day opener, and even the energy at the stadium today was great. You saw a lot of accurate passes by Raiola. It reminded you of Frazier and Crouch, dare I say, how accurate they were. Do you guys think we can really get to 9-3 like a lot of people talk about? First time, long time. Love you guys.
Aaron,
Thank
what a
you.
call.
And
That's a sports radio call.
I love the fact that he's using both Crouch and Tommy Frazier
For accuracy.
on the passing game.
That's what they were.
I might have went with Zach Taylor, but he decided to go a different route. I said this earlier. This was a great step. Is it the step that is going to validate that? We're going to know more about that next week. This was the essential step you had to make because you did a lot of things right. The pros far outweighed the cons in this game, and this is what you needed to see against UTEP. You needed to see Nebraska be in a very low, stressful situation as the game came close to an end. And once we started seeing second teamers midway through the third, I think that answered it. And I don't think when they were putting guys in, when you're seeing second stringers, when you're starting to see third stringers, where you're like, oh, are they jumping the gun here? Are we getting to these guys too early?
No, it
because
was early. Yeah.
it was very early, and it wasn't like it was in the 50s, but what UTEP could not do against Nebraska's defense and what Nebraska's offense felt like at any point they could snap their finger and put together a drive and get in the end zone. That is a sort of an uncommon feeling lately, especially when you put all three phases. Because, special teams wasn't a major factor, but guess what? When they had their moments, when you had to have a PAT, when you had to have a kick return, when you had to have a punt return or a punt, things were fine.
We could put a pin in that question. Has anything changed? Like, do you feel like the record is a win more now or anything like that? I personally don't. We could talk about that.
No, nothing
more.
about today makes me think, and I didn't think that would be the case. I didn't think Nebraska could have won by 63 points, I still wasn't going to be like, well, maybe I got to put an extra win there.
I will say, though, like, while I'm not going to jump ahead to that, it definitely looked better than I thought it would. If I set the bar at what I thought it was going to be, it looked better than I thought it would today.
And you know where I thought it did?
And I think they're going 8-4. So
and that's where I'm at too. And you know where I thought it looked a lot better than I thought it would was being able to utilize mainly 3 but 4 running backs the way that they did and having the impact that they did, having the effectiveness that they did. Because if there was one strength about this UTEP team, it was their defensive line and mainly their front 7. Again, not saying that this is even close. I mean, they play Ohio State. This isn't even close to the best defensive line or one of the better defensive lines they'll play, but that was the strength of this team, and they were able to really impose that. And so I thought what they did in the running game surprised me to an extent of, I thought it might be
just harder.
Well, yeah. When we watched those games last year, everything
it was so hard.
It was. Offense was so damn hard. It was, whether it was the running game, whether it was the passing game, whatever you wanted to throw in there, any way that they could advance the ball upfield. It looked so challenging. Yeah. Today, it didn't look like that.
We are going to take one more call before we take yet another break here on Big Red Overreaction. It's presented by Equitable Bank, where we take banking personally. It's also brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair and No Name Nutrition. Live a better, healthier, more natural life. Oh, actually, before we get to the call, a text here from the 515. This is out of Iowa. My husband is listening to you for years. I just now saw you on his phone from listening to you. Your faces don't match your voices. Love you guys, though. Shawnee.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I don't either. I can never tell.
I really don't know.
What do we sound like?
Yeah, what did
we sound like? Old ass B words?
What'd you think we'd look like?
I don't know. I have no idea. It's
all right.
That's what we should have listeners do. We should have people draw us without seeing us.
Pictionary.
That could be a dangerous game, my friend.
We should have a criminal sketch artist draw us just from our voices.
Based on voices, yeah.
That would be a great idea. One more call before we take a break. By the way, Peyton, Scott, and Alex, hang on the line. We'll get to you here in just a few short moments, but let's take a call from Bob. Bob, you're on Big Red Overreaction.
Hey, guys. First-time caller. Thanks for having me.
Very good, Bob. Of course.
Hey, 2 things I wanted to see out of it, and you guys kind of touched on the first one, which is lack of turnovers and, not shooting ourselves in the foot, not doing false starts, not having linemen fall over before the snap. But the other thing I was really looking for, and Rhule touched on it, was getting the backups in, keeping the intensity all the way through that we could finally put backups in, which we haven't done since it feels like the early Pelini years. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Bob. It just, Rhule was pretty juiced after the game.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. And I think
Was
that's
he keeping receipts, by the way? Of
I think so.
What we've said in the media?
Because
he called our offense disgraceful.
It's him. That was a really good
That
comment,
was actually
'cause
funny.
He said
But
that
then he's like-
crew, Benetti and Heward, he's like, when you guys had us last year, you called our offense disgraceful.
Yeah.
And I agreed with you, by
Yeah.
the way. And so we had to fix it. And so I do think he's kind of keeping receipts, and he's saying, look, I've been trying to tell you guys that I think we're pretty good. So I don't know. I don't know what you thought you were going to get today. It wasn't that stressful. I'm not surprised it wasn't that stressful. That's all subtext, obviously. But like, I think that's kind of where he's going with that. All right. It's Big Red Overreaction presented by Equitable Bank, where we take banking personally. We still got a little more than a half hour here. We'll take you all the way up until 8:00 Central Time, or 6:00 for our new West Coast friends on the, if you're listening from Oregon or California or something like that.
At 9 p.m. Eastern time.
Out on the Lanai or something
That's
like
true.
that.
Yeah.
So we'll be here with you until the top of the hour. Back after this with more on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg.
You probably never knew, but there is a name behind No Name Nutrition. That name is Rhule, and the Rhule family is dedicated to bringing the best products and experience available to you and your family. At No Name Nutrition, you won't just find natural foods, vitamins, or supplements. You'll also find bulk herbs, cosmetics, and cleaning products, even essential oils, more than 15,000 items. For nearly 50 years, No Name Nutrition, with the knowledge and service you deserve. North 72nd, West Center Road, and at nonamenenutrition.com.
Hello, I'm Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. If you've ever wanted to have your cake and eat it too, there's good news. You can have that every day at Equitable Bank. You get state-of-the-art mobile banking as well as online banking. And if you ever forget your password, don't worry. You can give us a call at 402-827-8100 and we'll answer it on the first ring to help. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
It's Big Red Overreaction, brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Big Red Overreaction continues in 1 minute on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg.
When it comes to protecting your home, Jay Stennett Contracting takes pride in ensuring every detail is handled. Roofing, siding, gutters. When it comes to the exterior of your home, Jay Stennett Contracting has you covered. Water, wind, and hail can wreak havoc on the exterior of your home. If your home is damaged, let Jay Stennett Contracting come out for a no-obligation inspection. If repairs are needed, they will help you through every step of the process. When you need an honest assessment, Jay Stennett Contracting has you covered. JSCRestoration.com.
At Dingman's, we understand that when you bring your vehicle to us, you're entrusting us with your safety and peace of mind. As part of this community, we're here to look after you and your family, just like we would our own. Our skilled technicians ensure every detail is handled with care, and our personal touch sets us apart. As your neighbors and fellow community members, we take pride in caring for the vehicles that keep our community moving. Locally owned and locally trusted. At Dingman's, we would rather be the best than apologize for anything less. Visit dingmans.com.
402-951-1620. Big Red Overreaction is live, featuring the most important voice of all, yours. Presented by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Dinman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair. And No Name Nutrition. Sound off now on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg.
Connor Happer, Nick Hanley with you here on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg. Nebraska beats UTEP today 40-7 to open their season. They're 1-0 for the first time since 2019. Let's do a quick Big Ten scoreboard update presented by Peerless Energy Systems, your local compressed air systems experts. In the Big Ten this weekend, Oregon currently leads Idaho 7-0 on the Big Ten Network. Michigan into the second quarter with a lead 7-0 only, and with the football on Big Ten Saturday night. Hawaii has a 7-0 lead on UCLA at the end of the first quarter. Washington State and Weber State will kick off at 10 tonight, Central Time. That is the debut of Big Ten After Dark. Ohio State beats Akron today 52-6. Penn State beats West Virginia on the road 34-12. Iowa blanks Illinois State 40-0. Maryland beats UConn 50-7. I think UConn should definitely join the Big 12. That'd be a great idea for them.
Good idea.
I think a lot of Big 12 football teams would enjoy that.
Purdue beats Indiana State 49-0. Indiana beats Florida International 31-7. Northwestern beats Miami of Ohio 13-6. And then your Thursday results: Rutgers over Howard, North Carolina over Minnesota, Illinois over Eastern Illinois. And then your Friday results: Michigan State beats Florida Atlantic by 6. Wisconsin beats Western Michigan late, 28-14. And then one more game still tomorrow with USC and LSU.
Wonder if Josh had fun at Northwestern today.
I saw many people taking pictures, and they said,
Yeah.
"Oh, it's actually not that bad." Shut up.
Yeah, and saying, look,
Shut up.
look,
It's a dinky stadium.
it was the can't beat the views.
Yes.
Can't beat the view
Who
off
cares?
the lakefront there.
You take your views and you save them for a different sport. This is football.
A little clarity of something we were talking about earlier with the helmet issue when Dylan's helmet came off and then Heiner came in after the 2-minute timeout.
Yes.
It was believed at the time that since it was the 2-minute warning / 2-minute timeout, that Dylan could come back in. Severe brings us up, and don't forget Severe Reaction tomorrow right here on 1620 The Zone. Said that it does have to be a charge timeout for the player to stay in the game if their helmet comes off.
I'm going to trust Michael on that.
I am too. So the fact that it wasn't actually a charge timeout, but it was a 2-minute warning, they still needed to bring in another quarterback.
Just
other
to
than Dylan.
wrap up the scoreboard update, that is, of course, presented by Peerless Energy Systems, your local compressed air systems experts. Big Red Overreaction brought to you by Equitable Bank, where we take banking personally. Back to the Jay Stennett Contracting Hotline. Here is young Alex. Alex, thanks for joining the show. You're on Big Red Overreaction. Hello, Alex.
Hello.
I think.
Yeah. Hi.
I think Nebraska played great, and that Colorado does not want to play Nebraska ever again.
I agree completely, Alex.
Let's go. Sorry, did I scare you?
You got anything else, Alex?
No.
Did you enjoy Dylan Raiola's play today?
Yeah.
All right.
How many touchdowns against Colorado next week? Like 7 or 9?
Probably 9.
Probably 9.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Thanks for the call, Alex.
You're welcome.
Okay. See ya.
That was the best call of the day.
You're welcome.
Very polite.
Very
Alex.
polite.
Yeah,
Indeed.
very polite young man.
We're it's the generation of new fans.
And Colorado is never going to want to play Nebraska again, according to Alex.
Deion's
After
scared.
what we do.
Yeah.
next
Somebody was
week.
asking how
I
many
didn't say we, I
toes
said we.
how many toes he's going to have after next week. I don't think
I
they're going to take
know.
any toes off of him.
Wow.
He doesn't. Yeah, we don't have to talk about that.
Jeez.
He's already missing enough toes, I guess. All right, back to the
Wow.
what?
Wow.
Back to the phones. Here is Peyton on the Jay Stennett Contracting Hotline. Hi, Peyton.
Hello. Sorry to rain on Alex's parade, but Dylan Rhule is not going to throw nine touchdowns next week.
What? How many do you think he's going to throw, Peyton?
Less than 9.
Okay, all right.
In the game
That's fair, Peyton. That's
you
fair.
think he's going to be out by the fourth quarter again?
You said it, not me. But to nitpick something from the game today, long snapping, it was an issue in warm-ups with 96, and it was an issue in game. So I liked what we saw, but that is concerning.
Interesting. I'll have to watch that.
Okay.
I didn't. I guess I wasn't watching closely. Was it on field goals or punts? All right, Peyton. Sorry, but I didn't
actually catch that either. But
I just like my body.
that'll be part of the rewatch.
Maybe I should. Will it? Are you going to be watching the long snaps on the on the rewatch? Are you going to rewatch this? I don't think I am.
There's a couple things I do want to watch. Yeah. There's a couple things that I do want to watch. I want to go back to. I'll look at the Pro Football Focus grades.
I just thought it was a gift.
But I do want to look at the tackle play because I do think that Turner Corcoran had a better game.
I thought it was a gift from God today that we got to have a nice, relaxing Saturday afternoon. And I really don't have to think about this game that much.
No, you don't.
So to go back and watch it again for however long it takes, whether it's an hour or two or whatever it might be, I feel like I don't need to waste that hour or two. I feel like I know what I know. We're good. And let's on to Colorado. I'm not going to rewatch this.
Okay, that's fine.
We'll leave that to Michael, who you know is probably going to have the game rewatched by 3 times tomorrow morning.
I'm pretty sure he's already watched this game a second time. And he's probably on to the third tonight before he comes on the air tomorrow.
Shotzi says there was a high snap on a PAT, and on the last field goal, the snap was low too. Okay.
Right.
Didn't notice.
Good job by the holder.
I need to watch a little bit more close. You guys are on top of it. Nothing
Yeah.
gets by you.
I love it.
Back to the phones. Jason and Contracting Hotline. Here is Scott. Scott, you're on Big Red Overreaction.
Hey guys, thanks for taking my call. Appreciate it.
You got it.
The first two, I hate to not talk about the defense because they were really, really, really good, and we expected them to be good. But three things on offense that I love today. The first two things we haven't seen a lot of the last couple of years, even against lesser opponents, much lesser. Time of possession, I think we were double almost the whole game. I think the defense might have played 40-some snaps. That was huge. First down production was great. I mean, for a long time, it's been 2nd and 9, 2nd and 8, 2nd and 10. So I thought first down and second down production was solid as well, but that allowed us to do some things on second down that we don't normally get to do. And last thing, I thought Dylan, outstanding, showed his little Mahomes, gadget there. But I thought his second best ball of the day was the pass that wasn't completed in the corner in the first drive. It would have been a great catch, but that's a beautiful ball that he dropped in there. So thanks again, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. Appreciate it. Just to go through some of the numbers that he mentioned there. So Nebraska, and Rhule quoted this post game, or I guess he quoted the offensive number. They ended up going 11 for 17 on third downs offensively, 3 for 10 on third downs defensively. That's a good number. That's below where it was a year ago.
They did almost double up on possession time, 38 minutes to 21.
And 50 offensive plays for an offense that wants to go. So if you're looking, once again,
tempo,
there are things that you could just apply a little bit, ever so slightly, to next week's game. You know that Colorado's going to try and tempo you. It's the only, it's styles make fights, and that's their style. And
they don't want to run the football.
No, they're not.
They
interested.
absolutely have no interest in running the football.
And so you can, plug in the talent that Colorado has, but the tempo is still the tempo, and they went hyperspeed on that one drive, ended up getting a touchdown. That's a nitpick, I guess. But 50 plays on, and how many of them were from the top group? 20?
Right. Exactly.
Because they flipped it the second, I guess after they got the drive after they scored on the six, so it was 16-7, right? Entire second unit on defensive line was in.
Yeah,
the Riley Van Poppel, that group. So I don't know. We'll see what the snap count looks like tomorrow, but it could have been more than like 25 plays for guys like Nash and Robinson and Jamar Butler.
And on the lone touchdown for UTEP with the touchdown pass to Thomas, this is not picking on him because he had the interception, and I think when he's playing in his natural position and he's able to make plays as a safety, but they were able to get him in a one-on-one matchup, Malcolm Hartzog with Thomas. That's when I think of Malcolm Hartzog, I don't think of his strength of being a guy in coverage that is going to be able to take a guy one-on-one. That's why it always made me a little bit nervous of him as a corner. We saw a lot of that last year too. He's even said it. He's more of a natural safety. Give UTEP credit. They were able to get him in a position where he had to defend one-on-one, and he got beat.
That play was crazy because he was back. He was in soft coverage.
Yeah.
And then ended up just getting beat.
It was a hell of a throw. I don't want to say he just got burned or anything like that. It was a much better throw than it was blown coverage. But again, the fact that it was Malcolm Hartzog in that situation made it a little bit more, I don't know, PTSD for me from a year ago, where he would be spotted a lot.
A couple more calls here in this segment here on Big Red Overreaction, brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Also by Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair, and by No Name Nutrition. Live a better, healthier, more natural life. Here is Mike calling us now on the Jay Stennett Contracting Hotline. Mike, how we doing?
Good. How are you guys?
Very good.
Yeah, I bet you get out of here on time, and it's not quite near as freaking. I don't know.
I don't feel the urge to hit the bottle tonight. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah. No roll-aids.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's kind of nice. I'm going to say to have balance, and for the first time in a long time, it's like we have an identity of what we want to do. For years and years and years, it was just like we was drawing plays up in the dirt and not really knowing what we wanted to do. We'll do this one game, we'll try to do something else the next game or whatever. And it's nice to have some balance. I am worried about do we got a kicker that can kick it to the end zone? I mean, that's a little.
That is a good point.
You know,
that question did not get
that's
answered,
a little-
Mike. That's for sure.
Yeah.
No, and then Malcolm, 106 players played. Malachi Coleman, is he hurt or he was on the milk carton, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. So Lutovsky, Coleman, and I feel like I'm missing one. We're going to be, if necessary, if emergency
he
type
was hurt a little
situations.
bit?
Yeah, he'd
Okay.
been banged up a little bit too. So I don't think they were going to rush him back.
All right. Well, at least, like I said, good game. Nobody got hurt. I mean, nobody, no major injuries. That's the main thing, and we'll know more after next week.
Hey, Mike, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. There wasn't. Was there?
No, not one.
You go to you have a game like this, and you say, "Wow, everything went kind of really well today. No roll-aids,
Yeah.
the whole thing." And usually there's a caveat. Usually there's that one guy died on the field or something like that. Nope, there wasn't anything like that today.
It's true.
There wasn't anything like that at all.
No, there was nothing there. Just like that right there is a major issue. That right there is a major issue. And usually there was more than just one. There are things to definitely keep your eye on, without question, given the opponent that's coming in. And I think we've talked about it a lot, but given the opponent and given what you needed to show and what you needed to do to get through that thing, get out of it, get what you needed to get out of that. And that is the game reps, especially for some of your younger players too, but also seeing the gains from guys that were maybe just new to the defense a year ago, try to make that next step forward. Now, being another year into that system, you saw a lot of good things there. I've seen this mentioned now a lot in the stream as well, which I totally agreed. I mentioned it earlier. One of the biggest things about today's performance is you were +1 in the turnover margin, not negative.
Yeah.
All those things, those are all good things. Again, does that mean they're going to fulfill our preseason record of 8-4 or 9-3 or 7, whatever people are? No, we don't know that. We're going to have a much better idea of what this team is next week, but this is what you had to do against this team.
Yeah, you got what you thought you were going to get. Like that should once again bring in more confidence. Just got a message, and I didn't hear this, so thanks to this listener for passing this along. So I guess Rhule said in his pregame interview with the network that they wanted to not kick it into the end zone purposefully. They want to kick it inside the 5, make them return it, just so they can, have a chance for now. He
mentioned that on
kicked it out of bounds.
Yes, it did. Yeah, for the very first kickoff. He mentioned that on Thursday, if I remember correctly, too.
Okay.
That he would prefer that.
If you can do it, then that's kind of a tough needle to thread.
That's a pretty sweet wedge game right there. If you got that in your arsenal,
and it might result in your kicker kicking it out of bounds, and then they get it to 35, which did happen today.
It did.
So
it did.
That's the game you play. One more call before we take our last break here. Here is Jed on the J Senate Contracting Hotline. Jed, you're on Big Red Overreaction.
Yes, Cutter. This is Jed, the podcaster.
Jed, the podcaster.
To the best fake game show host that I've ever experienced.
When the hell was that? Like 20 years ago?
That was a long time ago.
Yes, it was.
I still have the VHS tapes if you want to watch them.
Oh yeah, let's convert that over to DVD, okay?
I kind of agree with what Connor, you said a little bit ago as far as whether or not we want to rewatch this game. Let's just move on to Colorado and let's start week right now.
Yeah,
why not?
There's sort of a reason why I might hate Colorado right now because of certain situations that experienced over the last week and a half. I may or may not be wearing my brand new childish little bitch t-shirt that I made. Literally have it on me right now that I will be wearing down in Lincoln next week. And good time beating the crap out of those Buffaloes.
Oh man. Podcaster Jed is going to have a hell of a time in Lincoln next weekend.
Jed, how more excited are you now that you actually got called out by Colorado now with what you said?
Thing is, I never really hated Colorado. I never really hated their fans. I went there last year and their fans were, so I was there in 2019 for the first time. And I'd obviously heard all of the stories and I went there kind of tentatively like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? And nothing happened. And it was defended Colorado fans when I came back. I was like, I had a great time. And then I went back there last year, and oh boy,
yeah,
drastically.
Yeah.
And last week and a half, I don't really give a crap what happens to any of those people, especially bad. I really couldn't care less. So if they were on fire, I would not help them out with anything in my body. So, yeah, I don't really care at all. I've never really hated Colorado until this last week and a half. So let's go.
Hey, Jed.
Colorado hate week right now.
Let's go. Yeah,
I'm there.
Restore the order.
Yep.
Restore the order. Order restored.
Podcaster Jed.
So, okay. Nebraska's lost to Colorado 3 times in a row.
Yes, they have.
Those first 2 times, they were not coached by Deion Sanders.
Nope.
It was not a program that had a lot of juice in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a program that had a lot of confidence behind it. Obviously, we saw the polar opposite last year.
Yeah.
This is the big one. The last one is the big one. This is the big one because both fan bases are like, if it's not now, then it's never. Now, whoever loses, if Colorado loses the game, they're going to say, well, we beat you the first 3, whatever. But this is the one that sticks. Just to set the tone for the week. This is the one, because you don't know when you're going to see him again.
Right.
This is the one that sticks.
And even if they were to renew some type of a series with Colorado, good chance that Deion Sanders is not going to be the coach there. And that's not us saying that he's going to get fired. I think we all believe, maybe you don't, Connor, but once Shador and Shiloh are gone, which will be this year after the season,
Florida.
Yeah, is he really? Is he? Well, there should be an opening there. Is he seriously going to stick around that much longer at Colorado?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I know he's saying he will, but you think he will? Especially if there are other offers for him, whether it be in the NFL or in college.
A lot of ways it could go. A lot of ways it could go this year. And Nebraska has a large say in how this one goes, how this year goes.
They do. They absolutely do. And so many comparisons are being made to that atmosphere from 2014 Miami. This is going to be much bigger.
It'll be better.
It will be. This will be so much bigger.
If podcaster Jed has anything to say about it.
And that's why today was great. Because if you had a South Alabama performance circa 2019, you're going in a little uneasy. You're still going to run your mouth. You're still going to run your mouth because you have to for this thing. But
this is different.
I know Colorado exudes confidence. You can ask Deion Sanders.
You can't tell those guys nothing.
Were you concerned about the fact that you guys really couldn't run the football behind that offensive line? Did you see how many yards we passed for? I'm going to say problem. So that's the thing is they're going to come in with all kinds of confidence regardless, but they're the team that's, if you're looking at the way that they performed, is got to be looking at a lot more questions than what Nebraska did against a UTEP team that I'm not trying to say UTEP is this great opponent, but we really have to nitpick right now if we're looking at things we're like, ooh, that wasn't good. If they play like they did against South Alabama in that 2019 season, you might be putting up a little bit of a false front when it comes to your confidence of, I'm talking trash, we're going to kill Colorado. But then, away from all your buddies, like, God, I hope we do this. That did not look great last week.
Put a pin in this, and we'll save this for the last segment on Big Red Overreaction. When was the last time the Nebraska fans felt like their team was good?
That is a great question.
Because
that is a great
right
question.
now is that moment.
Yep.
I think this fan base thinks their team is good and they're ready for this.
Yep.
So when was the last time? We'll set up the week ahead. It's going to be a fun one. We hope you listen to us here on 1620 The Zone because we're going to have as much fun as you have. It's Big Red Overreaction, and we'll round it out here coming up on 1620 The Zone and 101.9 The Kick.
Peerless Energy Systems is Nebraska and Iowa's locally owned and operated authorized solar air compressor distributor. Peerless Energy Systems provides products and solutions for compressed air systems, helping companies in manufacturing, food processing, transportation, auto body repair, car dealers, and more. Driving industry efficiency through service, support, and relationships, let Peerless Energy Systems help you increase efficiency with your compressed air systems today. PeerlessEnergy.com.
At Dingman's, we understand that when you bring your vehicle to us, you're entrusting us with your safety and peace of mind. As part of this community, we're here to look after you and your family, just like we would our own. Our skilled technicians ensure every detail is handled with care, and our personal touch sets us apart. As your neighbors and fellow community members, we take pride in caring for the vehicles that keep our community moving. Locally owned and locally trusted. At Dingman's, we would rather be the best than apologize for anything less. Visit dingmans.com.
It's Big Red Overreaction, brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Big Red Overreaction continues in 1 minute on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg.
Hello, I'm Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. If you've ever wanted to have your cake and eat it too, there's good news. You can have that every day at Equitable Bank. You get state-of-the-art mobile banking as well as online banking. And if you ever forget your password, don't worry. You can give us a call at 402-827-8100 and we'll answer it on the first ring to help. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Sunday morning is all about church, bacon, and the Sunday paper. Right next to church and bacon, Sunday's made for hot takes and reactions on Severe Reaction. Join me, Michael Severe's Sunday on 1620 The Zone with Severe Reaction from 8 to 10 after every game. What went right, what went wrong, and an honest take on what happened on game day. We'll also take calls from the most important voice of all, yours. Severe Reaction, Sunday mornings from 8 to 10, powered by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally, and by Nebraska Medicine, together extraordinary on 1620 The Zone.
The Big Red Overreaction postgame show. Live. Presented by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Also brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg.
Welcome back. Connor Hepper, Nick Hanley with you. Final segment on Big Red Overreaction. Brought to you in part by Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair. And No Name Nutrition, live a better, healthier, more natural life. Appreciate you being with us this evening. The question that I asked before the break, and I think that'll drive some of the conversation, at least for me this week, because it's something I thought about a lot today. When was the last time that Nebraska fans believed that their team was good?
Jeez.
I already got one response from Josh on Twitter. 2011 post-Washington.
Yes. There had to be a time in between.
I think so.
Okay, this is an honest question because I know it's not the Bill Callahan era, but it's the next. It's not the Scott Frost era either, but the Mike Riley era, which ended so badly.
I think.
But did people, when they got off to a 7-0 start, did people think that was fool's gold?
Yes.
Or did you think that, man, maybe there is something going on there?
Yeah, obviously there's always going to be the support.
Because I remember how people felt after Nebraska beat Oregon that year at home. I felt like there was some confidence that they thought, hey, this is a good team. Even though they didn't think Oregon was that great, they just thought that was kind of a signature win for the Mike Riley era. And the way that Nebraska, remember, they beat Michigan State the year before. I feel like there was maybe some built-in optimism that they thought that was a good team in 2016.
I just got the sense today. I don't know why. Maybe you guys felt it in the stadium. I just got the sense that people really like this program right now.
Well, because
Nebraska fans really I'm not talking about the outside people. I'm talking about Nebraska fans really like what they see. They believe it.
Yeah. I think a big part of that is a lot of the conversation that we have talked about, a lot of content that we've had has been based on what we've heard, what our eyes have told us in the moments that we've had a chance to see this team and listening to people that we trust. But being somewhat validated today, and not validated in a way that you beat this amazing team. They beat UTEP. Yes, we know. They were 27.5-point favorites. Yes, we know. But guess what they did? They covered. I mean, all those little things of what we heard this team was going to look like. A lot of it showed up today.
Yeah,
right out of the gate. Right out of the gate.
We got like 6 or 7 minutes, and we're going to squeeze in 2 calls, 2 and 2 only here on the first Big Red Overreaction of the season. Here is Dave on the J Senate Contracting Hotline. Hey, Dave.
All right. One thing I noticed, and I think it's encouraging, is we are returning more punts and kickoffs this year.
Indeed, they are, Dave.
Yep. Tell me, Corey Barney will house one.
Yeah, and last year, we take it, we give up any field position gain and take a fair catch. This year, they didn't do it every time, but believe me, they were fielding the punt or the kickoff and bringing it back.
Dave, it's a good point. Thank you for the call. Appreciate it. I mean, how many times did we talk about that during the Frost era where, and I believe them. They were like, yeah, we're going to get better at this. Trust me, I'm committed to getting better at this. So but maybe they just didn't have the know-how.
Yeah, exactly.
I think special teams, in my opinion, is a really good display of infrastructural soundness, in your program.
No, but you're right.
They got that, man. It is a foundational deal with this thing. So now you see them returning stuff, and you're like, oh, okay.
There's a big difference, Connor. You just brought this up, and I think it's a really good point. And for people who hear coaches say this all the time, look, the people that are in those jobs that are making the money that they're making, they're very intelligent people when it comes to the sport that they're coaching, especially in the game of college football. But it's that ability to be able to recognize a problem, understand that you have to get better in it. And then it's another thing to be able to have the personnel and the resources to actually get better at it, whether it's your roster, whether it's you as a coach, whether it's your staff as a coach. So you don't necessarily, we're going to get better at that because we know we have to. Okay, cool, great. Doesn't always mean you're going to. You may not be able to.
I think they view it as I don't know if they pinpointed it and said, we have to get better at this. There's a few things that they've done with that. Obviously, turnovers were a big focal point.
Big emphasis, yeah.
But if we're talking about something like special teams, I think that was more of a, hey, we're going to get better at this because our program is going to be better.
Mm-hmm.
Our foundation is going to be better. So I'm not really worried about it. I don't think special teams was the type of thing where like, hey, we really have to hone in on this. Turnovers was that. I think third down defense was that.
Yeah.
And hopefully you see those things, pan out for them this year, but it's just gotten better because of what the program is. It's a good look inside of, it's like a check underneath the hood.
Yep.
That's basically what they have.
Yep.
All right. One last call here on Big Red Overreaction. It is Old Man Doug. Doug, you're on a time limit. I apologize. I know the show's brought to you by Equitable Bank, but you're on like a 2.5 minute time limit here.
I got you.
Okay.
I got you. Nothing much to complain about except maybe the one fumble. But if it's just one fumble, I hope he doesn't lose his confidence or lose his place, because I thought he was running pretty hard.
Yeah.
But somebody brought it, and I'll listen to you guys off air. But would you, if UTEP and North Dakota State played, who would you pick in that game? That kind of maybe puts it in perspective what we did versus Colorado did.
Yeah. I would.
I'm really impressed with North Dakota State, and I'm not trying to take anything away from this victory. I'm just saying, and I think we're going to beat Colorado. But I just wonder, that would be an interesting game. And then lastly, he said they're not going to try to kick it out of the end zone.
Yeah. Yes.
And so one caller mentioned, well, we can't get anybody that can kick it out of the end zone. Now maybe we don't. But he already said that they weren't going to do that.
It's impressive, though, that they have a kicker that can actually do that can keep it between the 10 and the goal line, because I think that would be really hard. And we saw what can go wrong where you kick it out of bounds too when you're trying to spot it.
Hey, Doug, one more for you. How was Cashless Memorial Stadium today?
Okay, so my young old man Doug. By the way, we sat next to sales guy Josh during the game.
Oh, I bet he was shaking in his boots.
Yep. Was he nervous? Was he sweating?
He's the most myopic Buff fan or fan of anybody I've ever. I mean, worse than Nebraska fans at their worst.
Yeah.
But got 2 waters, and there was no issues. But a friend of mine, I walked by to where he's getting the chairs, and he said, hey, you want me to buy you a chair? And I said, no. And he goes, because it's a 15-minute wait. I don't know if that was because of the cashless piece. The only part about the cashless piece is, why don't they just pay these vendors just like $1 an item? Because the tip thing did slow it down. Now, Alec paid, my son paid, so it wasn't me, but they had to sit there and navigate the tip part. So
okay, thanks for the report, Doug. Appreciate the call.
Love you guys. Great show.
Thanks,
Doug.
Doug.
That's old man Doug for you.
Man.
We didn't get a mention, so I figured he'd be the right guy to ask.
Yeah, he would. I know Josh wanted that asked too.
Okay, we got a week in front of us here.
Yep.
Severe Reaction is tomorrow morning at
always good stuff there
at
too.
8:00. Michael's going to have you covered there.
Mm-hmm. You got that one too, Joey?
8 to 10. 8 to 10.
Right.
Not 8:10. He'll be there at 8. 8 to 10.
8 to 10.
And then we will not be with you on Monday for Labor Day, so enjoy the day. We'll be back with you for a nice packed week on
Colorado
Tuesday.
Hate Week. Let's go.
Big Red Overreaction presented by Equitable Bank, where we take banking personally. Also brought to you in part by Dingman's Collision Center, mechanical repair, and No Name Nutrition. Live a better, healthier, more natural life. Our scoreboard updates today brought to you by Peerless Energy Systems, your local compressed air systems experts, and of course the hotline by Jay Stinnett Contracting. 40-7. Cannot wait to talk to you on Tuesday. I cannot wait to talk. I might do 8 podcasts the next 4 days.
What might we stumble into on Tuesday? Who knows?
Oh yeah, I'm telling you, this is going to be a big one for me. The fan base is feeling themselves right now.
Yep.
Can't wait to see that next Saturday night. All right, thanks Nick. Thanks Joey.
See you, boys.
We're done for the evening. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you guys on Tuesday.
Hello, I'm Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. If you've ever wanted to have your cake and eat it too, there's good news. You can have that every day at Equitable Bank. You get state-of-the-art mobile banking as well as online banking.